Lock it in, clock it in. It's a big one, Pete. How you doing, buddy?
Good. It's about damn time.
Yeah,
it's been a couple weeks again. Like this whole spreading these out is a good idea because we got to keep the audience wanting more,
right.
But definitely good to get in here and chat. You ran here tonight.
I did.
Good on you.
Thanks, man. I got out the door. It was actually kind of a frustrating run because I was trying to break a sub 25K and I ended at 20:05.
Oh, you're right there.
And then I went to the pub run downtown at Bella's with Fleet Feet.
Yep.
Ultra was demoing. They just dropped their new Experience Flow 3s.
Yeah.
Our main man, Nick, was out there.
Yeah, Nick.
Doing a demo. He wants to come on the podcast.
Yeah, we got to talk to that guy. He seems like he's got all the stories.
Yeah, and Fleet Feet, they're starting their pub runs. There's going to be 8 of them. They're having a fun little contest this year where they're going to have us pick who the best shoe demo rep was.
Oh.
And that person's going to get a little prize at the end. And if you go to 7 of the 8 pub runs, you're also going to get a prize.
Great.
So, Pete, you still have got a chance.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
Couldn't make it tonight.
Do we know when the next one is? It's got to be like a couple weeks out, right?
Yeah, coming up soon. Good question.
They run through the summer, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's going to be quite a bit, I would imagine, over the next few months. Yeah, they kind of seem like it happened fast, but that's cool. I'm glad Fleet Feet is doing stuff and bringing back the pub runs.
I do want to throw this at you. So the new Ultra Experience Flow, you have the previous model. Yeah. Just a quick review of the new model.
I didn't wear the new model because I wasn't able to run for long enough. I wanted to break off and come over here because we were doing this, but people who did run in them say they really liked them. I talked to Nick about it, and they're very, very similar. So I would imagine they're good. There's just a little bit of upgrades. They also had the stability version that I think you're rocking.
Yeah.
They came out with a new one of those, but
I actually looked that up today because I saw that the pub run was with Ultra. And I was like, dang, I'd like to get over there. But, the stars don't align every time. But you are in the thick of training right now.
Yeah, thick of training. Doing a marathon program. Was just in Florida for a few days. Had a nice little interval run down there.
Yeah, you did.
Hitting the hard pace. It was tough, but it was good. It's good for me to kind of be pushing this with the speed right now. So really enjoying it. We've had some fun runs recently. We got to go up to Paradise and run up there. Run that Yellowstone Heritage Trail, which just seems to steady climb up and up and up and up and up. It was a hard, long run that day, but the group's great. Having a lot of fun with Katie Crane, who's just insane.
Yeah.
And Nimai is just pushing all of us, and Paul and everybody, Neil and Billy, of course, and everyone is just so fun. It's just a great little community of runners right now. So we're in it. What about you, man? What you been up to running?
Training to, gearing up for a 5K. Never raced a 5K, so it's a lot different kind of training than what you're doing. Obviously, you're really stretching it out and doing long workouts, and I've been doing longer-ish runs and then some really high-intensity shorter runs, which has been fun. A nice change of pace. I will say though that this weekend it was great to get up into Upper Park and get on the trails.
Dude, for real.
I needed a break from the pavement.
I feel the same way. Getting up on Guardian, coming back on Guardian was like, I miss this so much.
Yeah.
What have I been thinking? Even on Annie was like,
totally.
Gosh.
It's just nice to slow it down, take in some nature. I mean, it also doesn't hurt that it's been arguably the best running weather we could have right now this time of year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just insane. I know I got out this afternoon also, and 70 degrees in February seems criminal.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll take it while we get it. Some rain would probably be good for us, but I'll take it while we can.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what was cool recently? Jen Johnson, a guest on the pod with Butte College.
Yes.
Is heading to Cal State East Bay.
So cool.
So cool. Looks like on a scholarship, going to go do her thing.
Yeah.
So shout out Butte College. Shout out Jen Johnson. I know our boy Steph is looking for a home, is going to land somewhere.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring Jen Johnson up, not only because she deserves the accolades, but because it's going to lead right into what we're doing on this episode. And that is having the opportunity to talk with an architect of one of the greatest dynasties in collegiate running. We can list all of the accomplishments that this guy is associated with, but the episode would literally be hours long.
Yeah.
So let's just say he's won a lot. and we'll mention this as quick as we can. 23 straight conference titles for the men. 20 of the last 23 West region titles for the men. 19 of the last 23 CC2A titles for the women. 11 women's regional titles. 31 combined regional titles between the men and women. 42 combined CC2A titles between the men and women. 43 top 10 NC2A team finishes between the two genders since 1999. I apologize to everyone listening because I know you can't keep up, but I'm telling you, this is incredible. Both teams have qualified for NC2As together every year since 2000. This guy is right in our backyard, folks.
Yes.
Like, this is literally an amazing story of a great dynasty, countless All-Americans, and a tremendous influence on character development, turning athletes into great people, some who have been on our podcast as guests. Shout out Danny DeMeo. So we're just kind of trying to set the expectations of the conversation that's coming. This is literally one of the biggest podcasts that we've done. We have a very, very esteemed guest today. Like, it's an absolute honor, right? To be in the studio, to have Gary Towne of Chico State in the fold. Let's go. We're about to make this magic happen, Pete. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. Like, that gave me goosebumps. I'm sure Gary has heard that so many times that it's like, oh, come on, let it go. But yeah, just incredible stuff. Gary, thank you so much for giving us some time this evening. We know you have a crazy schedule right now with track season starting up. So again, thank you for jumping in here with us.
No, it's really nice to be here, and I appreciate all the kind words, Ross. So, to be honest, all of that just doesn't even really make sense to my brain. When I started, that certainly was not the goal. It just sort of happened over time. So, but really proud of the record that we've established through the years, and yeah, what a ride it's been.
Yeah. I love it. And we're going to talk deep coaching philosophy. We're going to talk stories from decades of Wildcat dominance. We're going to talk about training insights. We'll throw some humor involved, hopefully. And of course, we've got Peter's rapid fire round to close things out. But first, we want to get into a little bit about your personal background. You ran at Corning High School. Your teammates or classmates with my main man, Matt Mayoko, who covers the San Francisco 49ers for NBC Sports Bay Area. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah, Maddie and I went to high school together, graduated in 1985 together. So I listen to his podcast almost daily because he's a pretty busy guy. So yeah, Maddie and I are pretty good friends. He's awesome.
When I covered the San Francisco 49ers at some of the training camps back in the day for Action News Now, I'd run into Matt Mayoko. He'd say, tell my friend Gary Towne I said hi when you get back to Chico. I always thought that was so cool.
That's so dang cool.
Yeah, so Corning High School, then you go to Shasta College, where I learned today. Well, actually, Peter learned today. Yeah. Why don't you take this segment away from your friend Josh, who broke down some background info on Gary?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out Josh Bullock, a crazy cyclist and runner in the area as well. Yeah, Gary, do you mind telling us a little bit about how you even got involved in running, like after Corning, going to Shasta College?
No, that's a great question. I was admittedly not very fast in high school, relatively speaking. So I never broke 5 minutes in the mile, only broke 11 minutes in the 2 mile once. And for, like kids that go to college to run, those aren't times that would, for boys that would usually do the trick. But, there was a part of me that wanted to compete in college. But the realist in me was like, okay, I'm just not good enough to do that. So I went to Shasta College with no expectations to compete. Was out for a run one day, the first fall that I was there. Got back to like the gym area to go shower. And the track coach saw me, and I knew who he was because I saw him recruiting at high school meets, and he had no clue who I was because I wasn't very fast. So he sees me and he's like, "Hey, who are you?" And I said, I introduced myself, Gary Towne. His name is Gary as well, Gary Lewis. And that moment changed my life because he basically said, "Well, why aren't you on the team?" And I said, "Well, I'm not very fast." And he said, Well, where did you run? And I told him a little bit about myself. And he said, well, come to practice tomorrow. And so I went to practice and started running for Shasta College. And Gary Lewis and Jim Middleton, amazing people. Gary went on to become the president of Shasta College, just a amazing human being and really welcoming, and I don't know. So they kind of took me under their wing, honestly. And by the time I graduated from Shasta, I was involved with recruiting there. It was literally like the segue into eventually coaching, beyond Chico State. And it gave me just the lift to where I got my foot in the door here at Chico State as a runner. And but really it was, Corning is where it started. Shasta, was what kind of got me really going at the college level. And then, just got my foot in the door to go to Chico and the opportunity to run here. And and that's kind of where it all started.
So not only are you now the coach at Chico State, but you ran for Chico State for a couple years. Can you just share a little bit of that experience, maybe some highlights during your running time there?
Chico State hadn't won a conference title when I got here. It had been like over a decade or two, and so it was quite a length. And so we were an average team in the conference, and I was by my senior year I became the 5th guy on the team, and was the final scorer for the team. So
yeah.
It felt good to help a team to a 3rd place finish at our conference meet back then. But Davis and Humboldt were just, they were just, mopping the floor with us. And so, that was kind of where we were back in those days. Yeah, nobody liked Davis. We still don't like Davis, but yeah, we were not very good. And but I really, with every year that I spent in the sport, my love and passion for the sport grew. And so when I graduated from Chico State and started grad school here, I knew then that I wanted to be a college coach. And I wanted to get experience coaching. So I asked if I could help out as an assistant coach, and that's kind of where the coaching started.
Yeah. So going back to when you were running at Chico State, what was your specialty or your focus as far as racing goes?
Yeah, I'm definitely wired for the distance stuff. So 5K, 10K. I ran the steeplechase a few times at the conference championship my senior year. We hosted, kind of funny story, we hosted the conference championships in Chico, my senior year. And the night before the race, I was living at the zoo back then. And the night before my steeplechase final, which was at like 9 a.m. in the morning, there was a riot that started outside of my apartment complex at the zoo. This was like 1999. It was literally the last riots that happened in Chico. And they started right outside of my apartment. Like I saw kind of things developing. I sprinted to my apartment, locked myself in, and I could just hear the mayhem out there the whole night as I was prepping for my race the next morning. Get up in the morning, ride my bicycle to the school, and it just looked like a war zone on the way there. It was surreal. And all of Fifth Street was just like covered in glass, and stuff was on fire. And we went and I ran the conference championship in the steeple. Ran a really big PR'd by like 40 seconds, which was really cool. And that was my last college race in uniform. The story of it though is kind of surreal. The timing of it, I guess, is a little bit just kind of a picture of those days in Chico, unfortunately.
But, yeah. That's incredible that you were able to get enough sleep to get up the next morning and put it all together and PR on top of it.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I was not supposed to run in that race. There was a real, there's a story to it, but I didn't find out that I was going to be plugged in to that steeplechase until like about 4 or 5 days before the race. And I thought my career was done in uniform, but something happened with one of the athletes on the team. Our assistant coach at the time talked our head coach into putting me into that spot, and so my PR was just a lot of gratitude. When you know you're out there, you're competing at home. You weren't supposed to be racing. You thought your career was over, and you get that last opportunity to run in uniform. I just wasn't going to let it go. And so it's nice to finish on a good note, and then kind of glide off into coaching and post collegiate running.
Yeah,
even with like the town burning down around you.
Yeah.
It's like that may have contributed to
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sense of urgency.
So that was like I think the first one was a Friday night. Saturday night after our meet was over, it was night number 2 of the riots.
Oh, great.
Which happened over in the avenues. And oh my gosh, like that was the night that the Channel 24 car got flipped upside down and torched, and people were like burning up fences, and we had this little like kind of track get together, and we were like just kind of like, oh man, how are we gonna get home? Like it was a crazy time. So
Outrun
Yeah, I
everybody.
would say the good news is you probably outrun everybody, or at least the majority of the folks.
It's nice that things have calmed down through the years, and I think that in itself is a good kind of window into like how things have changed campus wide, and even our team, you know, through those years from then till now has really turned a good corner as well. It's just with the, you know, lifestyles and I don't know. So yeah, it's been interesting, you know, being in Chico back in the heyday, and then being a part of things like as we've kind of turned the ship in a maybe more positive direction. Campus wide, you know.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So it was fun.
So speaking of post-collegiate running, it's my understanding that you got pretty into marathon running after you finished your collegiate time. What was that all about? Like, how many marathons, favorite marathon, PRs in marathons?
No, that's a great question. I feel like maybe what hooked me to running was when I was in high school. You know, we grew up, I'd lived in a little trailer in the country, and we had a little black and white, TV with like the little rabbit ear antennas, and it would pick up like just the major channels, you know, that I could kind of get in. And I remember watching the New York City Marathon live, and watching Alberto Salazar battling it out like in Central Park, and I was just getting into running back then, and I just dreamed of like, man, like I want to be doing that someday. Maybe not at that level, but I just grew up watching like the big marathons from afar, reading about them. And so I ran a marathon my senior year in high school, which was not the best idea. I would never recommend that to anybody else. And I might have the largest spread between slowest marathons and fastest marathons, because I ran the Bidwell Classic Marathon when I was a senior in high school in 4 hours and 7 minutes and 4 seconds. And I eventually ran a 2:29. So I cut like an hour and a half off of my PR. But yeah, so by the time I graduated from college, I'd run a couple. I think I was maybe already 4 deep. And as soon as I could qualify for Boston after I graduated, I did. And my buddy and I, my teammate Dave Larrabee, who grew up in Bernie, he was the same as me. We both wanted to be marathon runners, and so we went out to Boston together. We just flew out there, and you know, kid from Corning, kid from Bernie. I remember being on the flight, and Dave's looking at, you know, you look at the map in the little fold out, and Dave's like, dude, I didn't know Boston was on the East Coast.
No way.
Sorry, not a knock on Bernie.
Bernie to Boston, baby.
Bernie to Boston. Yeah, I'm like, Dave, what about, you remember the Tea Party?
Yeah. This little thing.
I know. It was good, but we had a great time out there, and I had a bit of a rough ending that first Boston, but I was hooked, and I ran every Boston from 91 to 98. So 8 years in a row, went out to Boston.
Incredible.
And I think my first Boston was like a 250, and I think my best there was a 231. So got down a bit and got in the top 100 maybe once or twice back when, you know, a 230 could do that for you. And then I'd run CIM a lot. Probably ran about 10 CIMs. I ran my PR there in 96, ran 229. So I did, I think I probably totaled about maybe close to 30 marathons. Ran the Bernie Marathon. So I was very into marathon running, and I still love the distance and love following the sport, and love coaching athletes to the marathon. And so it's love doing them, and I would have kept doing them, but coaching finally kind of got in. The further I got into coaching, then as like I can't keep going to Boston. I'm a head coach now, and it's right in the middle of track season, so I kind of had to let that go. But those years of doing Boston were amazing. I got to do the 100th Boston, so it was a lot of fun, I still have dreams of running marathons. Like
Yeah.
once you've run some, it's like you start dreaming about them. I still have dreams about the marathon distance. So
Well, there's always retirement whenever that happens, right?
yeah, my problem is I had a pretty unfortunate accident on the bike.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2018, I got hit by a van head on, and that it shattered my pelvis, and so I'm not going to be running marathons anymore.
Okay.
Running, I can run, and
You're still putting up some
Yeah,
pretty
damn good
impressive
times,
runs
yeah.
I'm
lately.
really grateful because this accident was pretty bad. I spent a week in the hospital, and they couldn't tell me if I would run again, and it took probably a good 3 years before I could sort of trot a little, and now I'm able to run a couple days a week, and it's just I definitely value that. I just when we're on the road and I can't ride a bike, like I can run, and if I couldn't run, I'd just be going crazy.
Yeah.
Because I don't like stationary stuff. I don't like being in a gym spinning on a bike. I got to be going somewhere. I got to be covering ground, and
Love
so
it.
running gives me that. Biking gives me that. A stationary bike or being in the pool does not give me any of that. So So I'm just kind of trying to figure. I have like X amount of miles left in this hip, and so I'm just gonna like kind of just smooth it out through as long as I can.
Sure.
So you mentioned biking, right?
The biking that you do, or the cycling that you do, is insane. First of all, you were just sharing with us that it was 2020 that you said you did 17,000 miles on the bike and 1.2 million feet of climb.
Yeah.
Insane.
Once COVID happened, I had just gotten 2 new bikes from the accident that I was involved in. I had basically I was got a bit of a payout or whatever from the damages and everything, and so I treated myself to 2 brand new bikes, and then literally COVID happened, and I just was like taking out my frustration on the bike daily, and I rode like 500 and something days in a row, and from the day that things shut down in March 2020 to like March 2021, I did all the totals for a 365-day window, and I got 17,700 miles in and 1.4 million vertical feet, and I just did a lot of I was on Strava, and I was just chasing all the records up, like all the climbs I could do. It was just
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. I was like 53 years old ish, and I just was training like a pro cyclist, and just seeing what I could do. And it kept me sane, honestly, and got me really fit. And it was cool. The cycling is so kind to your body. Like I could have never done that in running at that age, but on the bike I could go out there and try to break KOMs of the people that were a bit younger than me. So it was fun. It was a fun in a weird way.
What about this Everest on Cohasset feat?
Yeah, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I was getting really fit, and I was looking for things that I could do to challenge myself, and I heard about this Everest challenge thing, and it's basically where a rider rides the vertical feet of Mount Everest in a day in a 24-hour window, and you have to repeat the same hill, and I read into it kind of loosely at first, and I started thinking, okay, maybe I'll do it on Humboldt Road because I ride that a lot. And then one of my buddies is like, oh, you're going to be out there all day. It's not steep enough. And so then I thought, well, maybe the road up towards Cohasset, I could do it on that stretch. And so within about a week, I just settled on, okay, I'm going to do it like whatever. I don't know. It might've been a Sunday. And I just went out there. I got out there by myself at 4 a.m., and just started riding intervals for about a 3-mile stretch maybe up Cohasset Road, up the pretty steep part, just to where it turns into a double lane road with no shoulder, and then I would double back and go back down to the bottom and repeat. And so I'd done like some recon in the days before, and I figured out, okay, well, if I was like 29,000 feet and whatever Everest is, it's like 29,100. I'm like, I should probably do the extra to get 30,000, because that's like, once you do 29, what you got?
You're right there.
Only do 30. And then I was like, oh, if I go a little over 30, I should get about 200 miles, which would be pretty cool. And so I kind of settled on like 35 laps. I'd get like to all those numbers, and I had like an incredible 33 laps. Like it was like going way better than I could have thought. I was riding these like I was going a lot faster than I thought I would. I was feeling better than I thought I would. I'd brought a whole like, stock of like donuts and sodas and things at the bottom.
Stashed on the side of the road.
And yeah. And like people, I started at 4 a.m. and people would come, and they're going up to Cohasset, and I'd pass them by this way and that way and see people I had recognized. They had no idea what I was doing. And then my wife showed up like late in the afternoon, thankfully. And she kind of knew when I'd be finishing up. And so I ended up in like doing it in about 13 hours time. I finished about 5, but man, those last 2 laps, oh wow. Like if I would have just settled on the Everest and nothing more, it would have been like 10 times easier. But man, those last few were really hard. My body hit a bit of a wall. And so I got it done. Got 200 miles in that day, 30,000 feet. And so mission accomplished. It was kind of cool. I couldn't drive my pickup home. I was too destroyed. Had to leave my pickup out there. Thankfully, my wife was there, and she just drove me home. And like,
shout out Roxanne.
Yeah.
Shout out Roxanne.
Thinking, like, did your wife show up to like peel you off the bike? Like, come on, it's time to go home.
I was pretty much prepared just to do this all on my own, and that was kind of the plan. But she came out, knowing what I was doing. She came out to support, and thankfully, in hindsight, she did, because I might still be out there or something.
Pedaling up and down.
Yeah, I just needed like to be literally scraped into the car and taken home and kind of fed and like nursed back to health.
Time to go to sleep, Gary.
Like 2 hours later, I was good enough to like get dropped off and take my pickup home. But it was a fun day. So I don't know. I've always been I just like challenges. Back in my early years of cycling, my first epic, and this will be my last one, but I messed up my foot. This is when I was a runner, and I messed up my foot pretty bad up in Alaska and during a trip up there. And I came back and I just went hard into cycling, got into really good shape, and I kept riding further and further up Highway 32. And then I just hatched this idea, like, I wonder if I could like ride up to Mount Lassen and like stash my bike and like hike up to the top and then like ride home. And so I kind of did a little bit of recon, and I took off at like 5:30 a.m. with a headlamp on, and I had like a little hydration pack that was empty, but I put like a pair of racing flats in it, like running racing flats, the lightest little shoes that you could put in a little pack, because I had my cycling shoes on my feet, and I couldn't take those up the hill. And I filled the shoes full of like power bars and stuff and like Gatorade powder, and just went for it. And it was crazy, but like there was only one water source between here and there, and that was up at like the Elam campground. And so I stopped there, resupplied on water, and then rode the rest of the way up to the parking lot, stashed my bike, and I was running really. I thought that there would be a water source. This is before like the new lodge was put in, at the south entrance, and I thought that there would be water there, but there wasn't. So I had to go all the way to the summit and then go all the way back to Elam campground before I could get water on paper. But I get to the summit parking area, stash my bike, throw on my racing flats, kind of trot up to the top, past like countless people on the trail, and they're like, "Were you the guy that was riding the bike up the hill that we just passed?" And I was like, "Yeah." "Where are you from?" I was like, "Chico." So I get to the top, and I'm like, wow, I have like a quarter of a water bottle left. It's like kind of lukewarm, like Gatorade. And I'm like, I don't know, this is going to be interesting. And I look over.
It's all downhill. All
true. But it wasn't looking promising. And I look over, and there are like 6 people on the summit. And my best friend from high school, his dad, was looking at me. He's like, "Gary." And I'm like, "Paul." And he's like, "Are you thirsty?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." He had like one of those like 2.5 gallon jugs of like Gatorade, and he filled me up and saved my life. And
what
then,
a hero.
Yeah. And I rode home, and I made it. That was a 12-hour day. So, But yeah, that was anyway some fun stuff.
So this last year, I went to Lassen for the first time, and that, shame on me for waiting so long to get up there. And I can't imagine riding a bike all the way up there and then summiting Lassen, because just driving up there and summiting Lassen twice, we did it up and down twice. Josh was actually with me. That was enough. I have no idea how you got back on the saddle and rode home.
Yeah, there's more climbing on the way home than you would think too. So I don't know if I counted for that, but you drop down into a canyon and you got to climb out of the canyon up to like the turnoff to Butte Meadows, and then it's mostly downhill from there. But yeah, it was a pretty epic day, and I was young. I was probably in my 30s then. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just and I got home from that one, and I was really wrecked too, and spent like hours kind of recovering. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's just stuff that we're all kind of guilty of that type of stuff, that type of behavior, right?
Yeah, indulgence.
Yeah, type 2 fun or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Well, I think it's really cool to get a lens into this side of you, Gary, because I think it factors into potentially your coaching style. I mean, there's a toughness that you possess, and it's probably helpful to relate to the athletes that you're coaching, because they see you, they see that you're a beast. You've done things that are truly incredible. And so your staying fit helps influence some of your coaching. I mean, would you agree with that? And how does that kind of factor into how you train your athletes?
Yeah, I think in a way, like part of it. Yeah, I think in each angle there's a parallel there. One is when I set goals, like I'm pretty good about like following through and executing like the best that I can to achieve those goals, and I think that they see those things. I'm not always, I don't share all the things I'm doing with them, but these days with Strava and everything, they're like, Coach, what the heck? Like, what are you doing? And, but I think as much as anything, I really like to provide like an example of like what life can look like beyond college. And I remember being their age. I was thinking about this when I was riding over here tonight, and wondering, like I'd be looking around and seeing, people that were in their 40s and 50s, and wondering, like, am I going to be active at that age? You just don't know at that point in your life. Like, is this going to when I'm done competing, for a team, am I going to lose interest in like in staying fit and active? And yeah, and then by the time I think I was in my 40s, I realized like, okay, I'm a lifer, like, and I'm glad that it turned out that way. But yeah, and I think for the athletes, hopefully it provides a good example of like what you can do, as you get older, and the type of lifestyle that you can live, and it's something that I do address a little bit with. I always send out a exit email to our team when I have to recreate our email list and add the new athletes and sort of delete the graduating athletes, and I send them one last message, and I include like just the importance of taking care of yourself and the importance of giving yourself an hour every day to take care of yourself, to like everybody deserves an hour of the day to go out and like address your health and fitness, and as busy as your life is going to get, like make sure that you carve out that window every day. And so yeah, I try to live that, and that hour can it happens sometimes earlier than others, and I think I get up pretty early to go do my rides and stuff, and the kids recognize that, and I think hopefully it just opens their eyes to what can be out there and what their lives can look like.
Well, and I think I love it. I think it sets such a good precedent that to be successful in running, in any endeavor, right? This isn't just looking at being part of this cross country team or this track team. And it sounds like that's what you're really getting at, is we're developing character and we're developing these skills that translate beyond running in circles, for 4.5 minutes as hard as you can, right? Or for running 6 miles as hard as you can. And I think that's probably got to draw in a lot of athletes and helps with the buy-in for the program.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully it does. And yeah, if you can do the things that we do, you guys have probably experienced this, but like there's no project at home that can't be conquered. Like, I look at something and it's like, I can do this because I've done some crazy stuff, before. And I think a lot of people are looking at something and they're like, oh, okay. They start Googling like who can do this work for me or whatever. But I don't know, distance runners and endurance athletes, like, it just, it develops like a sense of, work ethic and commitment and just, you're not afraid to do hard things. So
I love it. So let's transition now to the early Chico State years. Yeah. What do we think about that? 96, right? That's when this journey with the Wildcats begin. Take us back to those days. What was going on at Chico State and you getting the head coaching job?
Yeah. Let's see. I just finished my master's degree. I had probably a stack of 30 rejection letters for jobs all across the country.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops to all you.
Yeah.
Our gain here at Chico.
I just really got lucky. There was a bit of like creating your own luck because I did volunteer as an assistant coach for 3 years, and I think I proved myself to our coach at the time and the athletic director. So when our coach at that time, Gene Murphy Atkins, decided to just switch to a more 9-to-5 job, like teaching at the high school at Durham, then she kind of helped to slide me into the position as an interim coach. So in 96 and 97, I was the interim head coach, and it was a very, we had a very ragtag team. I guess we'd probably all agree on that. Everybody involved, myself included. And we just really tried to create momentum. I felt like I had been a part of the program, since the 80s. And, if you're in Chico long enough, and running, that we've got like a lot of like just natural. It's just a great setting for what we do and what we love doing. And even though we had no scholarship back then, like there were no athletic scholarships, I felt like we could do something special here. I felt like we had the opportunity, and so. Myself and our assistant coaches back then just went to work on trying to build things and create a culture and recruited hard and got the ball rolling. In 97, our women qualified for the national championships for the first time in the school's history as a team. That was a big step, and that was my second year as interim head coach, and that probably kind of secured my eventual sort of full-time position.
Yeah. Wow.
Karen Scott was on that team. If you know Karen. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? Wait.
Yeah.
I saw her last night.
Yeah.
I had no idea that she was a collegiate runner.
She was. Yeah. So
holy cow.
Yeah. We were in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which we returned to the scene of Kenosha this year for the first time since that year. So Karen was on that team. It was a lot of community college transfers. We kind of really built on JC transfers early on there, kind of getting the momentum going. She is an American River College graduate. And and so we went to Kenosha with that group, and we took 17th out of 17 teams. But we got our, got the experience. And a year later, we went back with the women in 98, and we beat one team. So it made the flight home a little bit less difficult. And then in 99, we had a men's group together that just eked into the national championships by a couple points at the regional meet. And then we went to nationals, and we took 6th, which was just like mind blowing at the time. Yeah. Like we finished the race. I hadn't been to nationals with the men's team, and I'll never forget the Humboldt coach came up to me after. He's like, dude, you guys killed it. I'm like, we did?
Yeah. I mean, we did.
Yeah. It was like before real-time results and all that. I'm like, that was good? He's like, that was really good. And then it turned out we took 6th. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we took 6th. And that was really that 99 team for the men really got things going for the women, those first 2 teams. And then in 2000, men and women made it together for the first time. And we've been going ever since.
Casual. Been going ever since 2000.
Yeah.
That's so cool that you can pinpoint kind of the turning point for
Right.
Chico State
Yeah.
cross country.
Yeah.
And it's because of what you were building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that to some degree, but I will say there's just there's so much so many different people had a hand in the whole thing and have had a hand in the whole thing. Everybody from assistant coaches to the athletes to our athletic directors and so yeah. I tell people when I have the opportunity, I'm just sort of the face of the program, and there's a lot of different things that have helped us to where we're at. But yeah, it was we definitely finally in 2000, both teams made it, and we both finished in the top 10 that day.
Yeah,
and it was just really cool. We were down in Pomona, we were in California, and real turning point that year to some degree. And anyway,
How does your philosophy, how has that evolved? Like, what do you think great programs are built on? You've built it.
Yeah, I honestly consistency is really the key, and it's really consistency both in like the work that we do and the way we go about doing that work. I really preach that we do as much of that work together as we can. So we have double day practices, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we meet on Sundays a lot of times for our long runs together. And we talk about it at camp every summer. And I'm like, I could give you guys what to do on a given Sunday or what to do in the mornings. And I trust that, most of you are going to go out there and get that work in, and you could do it on your own. But there's something about doing that work together that that really you get a little bit more out of it. And so consistency in that way, and then also just consistency in recruiting. Like if I have a good solid recruiting class every year, then you constantly have a young group coming in that you're developing from within. And if we do it right, then we don't have those down years. We don't have those like rebuilding years. We have, we have those younger athletes that are coming up and they're ready to go because they've been kind of marinating in the training for a couple of years. They've been watching All-Americans do their thing. And even though they haven't been on that stage and done that yet, like they've been training with guys and women that have, and so they step in and fill roles, and they have a sense of confidence, partly based off of training side by side with people that have been there. So
that's what I'm thinking is that, your upperclassmen and upper class female runners, they're being pushed by the groups that are coming behind them. So there's that built-in motivation in the program and accountability. And I mean, that's a hard thing to develop. And just to see that you have this so intentional. I mean, obviously you don't get to coach at a college level if you're not intentional with what you're doing, right? You can't just luck in to having having 25 years of success. So it's incredible to see. And Ross and I chat about this on here and out on runs. It's so cool when we're running in Bidwell Park and we see a pack of Wildcats.
The locomotive is coming.
Holy cow. It's inspiring.
It's cool.
They're so damn fast.
It's
for a
fun.
couple of old guys that are just getting into running the last few years, it's so incredible to see and so inspiring. And
I like to chant Chico.
It's really fun to see that. And now to just know that, how you're building this, it's really awesome to see it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I would consider our program a very organic program. Like we have built it from scratch. We started with 0 scholarships, and to this day, I have enough money to in my entire scholarship budget to bring in one Kenyan. Like literally, if I was to bring in an international athlete, that would drain my entire scholarship budget. Like that's how little we have to work with overall. And we have programs that we're up against, like Wingate, that have 25 international athletes on their team. And so we have to like maximize, our potential. We have to maximize just the way we go about things. And we have to do a good job of developing from within because we're just not getting, there are some programs out there that are, that are pretty highly funded, and then there are others that we're up against that are up at, in Colorado at the higher elevations, and that's a nice little tool that they have to work with. But I feel like we've done a lot with what we have here, and we've really maximized. We've leveraged, Chico, the culture here in town, and the residential campus. The lifestyle that you can live, and Bidwell Park, all of that, the surrounding areas, it's really, I think one day when I'm retired, I can look back and think like, wow, like that was really cool that we're able to do those things, just given some of the, the sort of financial limitations that we have.
Yeah. When Danny was on here talking, we were asking him like, how did you end up in Chico? And he said, I'd never really been up here, and I came up here for a visit, and the weather wasn't great. It was raining, but I went for a run in Bidwell Park, and the guys he was running with were great. And he's like, I was sold instantly. And I think that's what you're kind of speaking of, is the whole community, the people that you bring in as part of the team. And like you said, having Bidwell Park is a pretty nice selling point.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And every year I'm really grateful to our team for, welcoming recruits and welcoming our new athletes to the team. I think everybody, I think the athletes on our team are here for the right reasons. And that's one of the nice things about not having a bunch of money in scholarship, is that, you have a bunch of people that are here because they really like the setting and they like the team culture and those types of things. And that's been, I don't know. When they're here for the right reasons, then I feel like, that helps, or that's helpful. Yeah.
It's an amazing culture that you've created. I think it's time for us to take our first break. And coming up next, we're going to talk about how Gary has been managing 50 athletes in this wild schedule that he's been taking part in.
Yes.
After the break. Very interested to learn about this.
Me too. I've got some pretty specific questions too that I want
to
throw
throw
out
it. Love
there.
Pete. Love your questions, Pete. Hey, you know what this break is brought to you by? It's brought to you by hydration. It's always brought to you by hydration. We're going to drink water. We're going to drink electrolytes. Just stay hydrated. I don't know about you, but I've been slamming water on some of the runs in the park lately.
Me too. Always slamming that Element.
Yeah, that's
Love
right.
That super salt.
After our last Friday lunch recess with BRC, I combined the water and the Element. It's the perfect combination. You know what else needs some hydration? Your financial future. And I know a guy who can help you learn more about that. Who is that, Peter?
That is Dan the Man Malden, our favorite financial advisor in Chico.
Dan runs with BRC. He's been getting back at it. He's also a biker and a cyclist, which Gary Towne, I sure hope he appreciates. I know he does. And a lot of us know Dan, but you may not know that he can help hydrate your bank account to ensure you reach your financial finish line. I did a 50K last year. Peter, you did an endurance challenge 50K. But we got to be thinking about our 401ks. Always thinking about our 401ks. So if you're looking for some 401k or financial coaching, look up Dan the Man Malden. Give him a call at 530-500-2782. That's 530-500-2782. Love you, Dan the Man. Hope you appreciate this. And everyone out there, get your hydration. It's important.
Drink the damn water.
The theme of this next segment is working with athletes, but it's the human side of coaching. And Gary, you've got a big roster, and rightfully so. So many athletes, know about Chico State, want to be part of the Wildcats, and you're doing your thing with recruiting. But you've just kind of shared with us a little bit in leading up to this podcast about what you're going through right now and how you're managing 50 athletes and you're meeting with them. What's kind of the schedule that you've been going through? How's that taken shape? What's been going down?
Yeah. Having a large team is a challenge, and especially if you're going to individualize the process for them, it might not be as difficult if I just kind of had a basic or a weekly plan that everybody followed from day to day, and we went out there and did that work together. But the reality of things is that not everybody is in the same spot, like in their development, right? You have incoming freshmen that are coming from a lot of different programs in high school. Some are training in really low volumes, and others are coming in having run like 70 miles a week in high school. And so if I have everybody doing the same thing their freshman or sophomore or junior year, then it's not taking into account like their background and their journey here. And as you guys know, it's important not to overload the system, all at once, and it takes time to develop to the point where you can handle greater training loads. And at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm doing the athletes justice that are coming in with like more advanced training background. So I don't want to, tell them, okay, well, our freshmen only run 50 miles a week, and that's just what we do. If they've already been running 60 or 70 in high school, then that's probably not a wise choice either. So to pull it off, I do individual meetings with them for 30 to 40 minutes at the beginning of each season, and then again at the end of every season. And we in those meetings we set out like a mileage plan for the season, and we set out like a long run plan for each week as far as like how many miles they're running for their weekly long runs, kind of taking into consideration our schedule, when we're racing, where we're racing, that type of thing. And and then we and then I'll talk about like the races we're going to, travel schedule, and goals, goal setting, and there's a lot to cover in those meetings. And so but I have them, I don't pass those on to my assistant coach or assistant coaches. That's something that it's one-on-one with myself and each athlete. And then we do the same at the end of each season, and we'll kind of recap and talk about how things went. And then we'll set up a game plan for the off season that's in front of us, because it's important that they take their break, but then they're getting back into the training and that things are put together in a systematic way. And then, these meetings continue to happen throughout their time in Chico. And as I'm learning more about them, then I'm implementing what I'm learning into their training plans. And at the same time as they get older and, they've been in our program for a while, there's a lot of like back and forth. And as far as, it's a collaborative effort and experience, with creating their plans. So, I feel like the way we do those things is helpful. I basically send them home with like a written, planner. I take a picture of it. All the planners from the past 4 years are on my phone for each athlete on the team, and that way I know kind of what everybody's doing each week. So it seems to be working. It is very time intensive, but thankfully I'm not teaching classes, and I'm able to do that, throughout pretty much the entire day when we're not at practice.
Do you have a time for a couple 42-year-olds?
What's your going rate?
Oh man, yeah, it is. It's sometimes I'll if we don't have a practice on a given day, I'll literally knock out like 9 to 5, just straight, meetings right all the way through. And the weird thing is it thankfully it suppresses my appetite, because I literally don't have time to eat. And I'll finish a stretch and I'm like, wow, I just knocked out 16 or 17 meetings, and I'm not hungry at all. And it's weird because you get into them and you're just going. And I'm like, wow, I didn't have anything today. So, so it's interesting, but it's, I don't know, it's rewarding, and it's really nice to have these meetings. I always, finish them kind of just in a good place. Like, you're excited for the season, and it's good to touch bases. It's good to share information with them. I think those meetings are super valuable with I can sit down and I say, hey, you remind me a lot of like this person, and this is kind of what we did, with them. And this is, kind of how things turned out. And and it's really cool to kind of see some of that, like, kind of turn into reality, watching them develop.
So this system you have in place that's sort of based on the individual and kind of where they are and, the ratio of whatever they're going through, is this something that's deployed by many coaches, or is this a philosophy that you've kind of developed here at Chico State?
I think it's I don't know.
Could be both.
That's a good question. I think it's fairly unique though, because because I don't know that many of my my friends or my colleagues that are out there are doing them. And it's funny because I see other coaches in our hallway. They know, like, oh, I'm old school. I put like the sign out in the doorway, and they have the kids have to come by and sign up, and they see it. And Brian, our basketball coach, signs up for a meeting almost every year.
I would do the same thing.
I was just thinking, Ross, you asked if Gary has time for a couple 42-year-olds. Like, maybe we just need to figure out when the window is to sign up, and we just drop our names on there.
Yeah.
But
Coach, I need a training plan.
Yeah.
I think that some coaches have picked up on it. I think Felipe in soccer, I see he's doing some of that stuff. So I don't know. But I know my former assistant coaches, like Sean down at Cal Baptist. He does them with his kids, and I think it makes sense. And
totally.
When I first got into coaching, I'm like, how am I gonna do this and recognize like the differences in athletes? Like, how am I gonna tailor things? Or because you can't just stand out there every Monday and say, I want you to run this much today. I want you to run this much today. And so it just made sense. Like, okay, like I'm gonna do things like this. And I had spent years coaching myself, to Boston marathons and all that. And I wrote up my own training, and I would usually put together like a written plan leading into like a marathon. And I'd have like races that would kind of prep me for that, the Bidwell Classic half marathon along the way, and things like that. And I would have like a mileage plan. So I kind of took what I was already doing for myself and put it to use with coaching. And I'm really glad that I have, and I think it's been really useful and practical. So
it makes a lot of sense because athletes are at different places.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not all the same. And you mentioned there's some that are younger that are coming in, and some that are older that have been training for longer. So maybe longer mileage weeks makes more sense for them at that point. How do you navigate like confidence dips or injuries or burnout? I mean, how does that shake things up for your philosophy and plan for these runners?
Yeah, I think, just as with anything, I think communication is just key, right? Like, you got to meet them where they're at and address like what they're going through at that moment, and then take the knowledge that you have as a coach and try to apply that. If it's something that I can talk to them about and address and in a way that I feel like will be meaningful and helpful, then I do. If it's kind of above my pay grade and maybe somebody else can do a better job of it, then I'll get them in that direction and make sure they're taken care of. My assistant coach Scott is really good at that. He's been wonderful about like helping to take some of those special situations that you run into with different athletes, and it's difficult with a really large team because you've always got people that are just dealing with different ailments and different setbacks and different things that are going on in their lives. I feel like through the years we've kind of seen it all and done it all. And I just got an email actually from a woman that, she was here probably the better part of 20 years ago. I get an email and she said, she's like grown up, has 2 kids, and she transferred to Chico from Division I, and I had never met her before. She gave me her times and stuff, and I said, yeah, we can take you in. And so the first time I met her, I just felt like man, I looked at her and I was like, I bet 10-1, like she's not like taking care of herself, like nutritionally, looked a little bit like just underweight for like for her size and everything and for what we do, and so my first conversation with her literally was just like, hey, like are we healthy here, like because I'm going to tell you right now, like the most important thing is that you're healthy and that you have a good experience, like a healthy experience, like within our team. And performance is secondary, and lifelong health is like where it's at. And she, I don't even remember at the time, whether she really, opened up about it. I don't think she did, but that conversation meant something. And she did make changes and became more healthy. And certainly in her time in Chico, she got stronger. She had a successful, a few years with us. And that topic never came up, like, while she was here. But 15 years later, I get this like full page email just saying, like, your 15-minute conversation with me the first time that we met, like, literally changed my life. She's like, she's dealing with things right now that are a byproduct of the window of time before she got here. That's kind of like, that's caused some issues. And she's just so grateful that she had kind of turned the corner and corrected the ships to allow her to have 2 children. And I was like, man, I get a little emotional just saying that, but like, but that's the type of scenario that, that we, those are the types of things that we deal with, and that it's just really important that we're doing our very best to do things the right way and to help these kids understand, the things that, to try to navigate, like being a student athlete, and they're being pulled in a lot of different directions, so I'm going to forward that note to my team, taking her name out, of course. I asked her if I could, because I think it's important that everybody hears stuff like that's currently on the team. And so it's, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that we deal with as coaches. And I think we can be, the things that we do and the things that we say can be powerful in a positive way or potentially in a negative way. So,
and really, you're dealing with kids still. Yes, they're 18, 19, 20, 22 years old, but that prefrontal cortex is not developed, and they don't have, the worldly experiences or the cultural and social experiences to maybe recognize when they're not in good habits all the time. And so I think it's very admirable that you do place such an emphasis on that. And that was a question that I wanted to ask you is, when you're having these conversations, obviously, yes, is the answer to this first one. Are you talking about nutrition? Do you guys take metrics? Like, do you like breathing metrics, running metrics, heart rate metrics? Are you using science in these plans? Like, or to what extent are you using science?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think, to some degree, we definitely do use science, especially like with workout prescription and intensities. And I don't get super in the weeds with the science part of it, as far as like, they're not wearing heart rate monitors, but the ones that do, like, we certainly do use some of that info to kind of guide us a bit. There are some programs out there that are doing lactate testing, which is crazy. It's great, but like, with 60 something athletes, I just don't, that isn't realistic. But yeah, science guides us, certainly. And I definitely am still reading a lot into, different training philosophies. There's been, all kinds of new stuff that's come out, double threshold stuff and everything. And it's important that I'm keeping up on things and applying what I'm learning to, how we're prescribing, the things that we are. But I think, I think as much as anything, I'm really trying to teach them how to read their body and to listen to their body in different ways, because your body is like going to tell you a lot, and it's going to know if you're not completely on that day, and it's important that you're listening to it, not forcing anything. So, yeah.
Well, on this podcast, we love Zone 2 running.
Yeah. It's a popular thing these days.
We love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting that you're mentioning lactate testing, and we're bringing up Zone 2 right now, and there's all these different science, all this philosophies, all this stuff coming out right now that's like, supposedly helping analyze running.
Yeah.
I sense a little, I don't necessarily want to say pushback, but what do you think about all of this stuff that's coming out right now that's supposedly helping us analyze our running? And from a coaching perspective, where are you at with all of this?
Yeah, I think, so I'm 58 years old, so maybe I'm now that old coach that's just like, just set in my ways of like, hey, don't listen to that stuff.
Yes.
Like, we've been doing it this way for years. So there's probably a little bit of that. But then again, I'm not like naive enough to just discard like these different things that are out there now, and different metrics of reading kind of what your body is telling you. So yeah, our training has evolved a bit through the years, and it continues to. And I don't want to be that old coach that's just saying, okay, look at our record. Like these are the things that we did. Yeah. These are the things that we did. So we're not going to change a thing. Like that isn't me, and that's on us. But at the same time, I think there are a lot of coaches out there, good coaches that really preach kind of the same things that I do, as far as like, we really try to teach them like kind of what we're shooting for in workouts. And it's certainly not going out there every day on our workout days and just putting our head down and trying to run as hard as we can on that day. That isn't the goal on most days. And I think they get that because we definitely preach it. And and the bottom line is when they're out there racing, they're not going to have much metrics, right? They're not going to have
it's all
a heart
feel.
rate monitor.
Yeah.
It's all feel, exactly. Yeah. And you've got to learn how to deal with that, and you've got to learn how to take your body on that day that might not be feeling quite as well as you had hoped, and you got to turn that into a good performance, and that takes practice. And so we try to just really listen to the body, and do things in a way that is guided by science.
Okay, well, give me some real life coaching advice here.
Okay.
Tonight I set out and I had a thought of like, I want to do a sub 25K. I literally got like, I don't know, 0.4, 0.5 into the run and was like, this is going to be a battle. I knew I wasn't feeling totally up to speed. I knew it was going to be a little rough. I just got back from Florida. I've been doing some traveling. I didn't have a really great sleep last night. But I kept pushing. And I ended up at 20.05, which I'm okay with, but I know I could have been sub 20. It was kind of one of those runs where it was like not good out the gates, and I knew it wasn't going to be good. And it was rough in some of those segments between like 1.5 and 2.0 miles, right? I knew I had another mile to go, and my heart rate was really high, and I was breathing really heavy. I mean, what advice would you give me in a scenario like this with a run that was like decent, 20.05, but I didn't hit my goal of getting sub 20? I know at the end I didn't feel that great though, and it probably wasn't reflective of a performance I could put out.
Yeah, I think there are maybe two things that come to mind. One is it's important. I just had this talk with our team yesterday. We did a pretty hard fartlek workout in the park on Tuesday. And sometimes I forget, like they have all these fancy watches that tell them exactly how fast they're going at that minute. And I grew up with a Casio, just a stopwatch, and it didn't, all it told you was the amount of minutes or whatever you're into, that interval or whatever. And sometimes like getting that early data can like kind of cause a negative cycle. And so it's important. I told them like, hey, like don't worry about the data when you're doing the workout, just listen to your body and roll with that. And then you can analyze it a little bit after, and you can, get a sense of like, some takeaways, and you got to take into consideration, what you're dealing with that day. So one, I would say, don't count yourself out. Like when you might be half mile into a tough 5K and you feel horrible, but you've got to like continue to talk yourself through it. And sometimes you'll come out the backside and be like, wow, like I did not feel that great, and I can't believe I ran this time. But that would never happen if you don't like kind of talk yourself through it. Totally. and kind of give yourself some real positive reinforcement. But then there's the realist side, or the realistic side, that like there are days where like literally you're coming out of a plane, your body's kind of balled up, and it was hard, and that's real. And 20.05 was a hard effort to do, but you pulled some good practice out of it, because if you can still go out there and grind out a 20.05 with a body that's like not cooperating very well, then wait until things are kind of a little bit looser, and you've got a little better circumstances going into a little time trial like that. Then you take that same mentality that got you through that hard one and you apply it, and it's like, wow, okay, now I'm running 1930, and it felt twice as easy. So, yeah.
I'm hooked, Coach.
Yeah.
I'm hooked.
Yeah.
You got me.
He'll sign. He'll sign.
Yes.
He's got 4 years of eligibility. He's got the biggest heart on the team.
Yeah.
No,
True.
you just made me feel so much better. I get it, Coach. I get why people want to run for you. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, how about a funny insert here, a coach confession? Pete, under segment 2 here, what do you got?
Okay. So everybody's going to miss a practice, miss a workout. What's the funniest excuse you've ever heard from an athlete for missing a workout or a run?
Okay. So this wasn't necessarily funny, but it was, I guess in hindsight it is, because when I was in my very first year coaching, and it was a tough situation or a tough scenario because I'd gone from being the assistant coach to now I'm the head coach. And as the assistant coach, I was kind of a grad assistant, so I was almost like a partial part of the team. And then all of a sudden I'm like the head coach, and I'm in charge of it all. And one of the seniors on the team, I won't name his name, he shows up at my apartment at 8 o'clock at night on I don't know what night of the week it was, knocks on my door. I open up the door, and he's standing out there, and he's like halfway in tears, and he's complaining to me about how hard it is to make it to morning practice. And I was just like, I can't believe this is happening right now. I have an athlete. I have an athlete at my personal residence on I don't know what night of the week, and he's almost in tears, telling me that he can't make it. It's just so hard for him to make it to 7 a.m. practice. I was just kind of mind blown, because that's not that is not me. Yeah. I consider myself an empathetic person, but that was beyond the pale. I don't even know. I think I just told him, dude, someday you're gonna have a job, and you're gonna have to be at work at a decent hour, and this is 7 o'clock is not.
That's
bad.
what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Gary is 7 o'clock's not that early.
Yeah. I mean, it is not uncommon for us to show up to the 7 o'clock practice, and the baseball team is rolling out of Acker Gym having finished their weightlifting for the day.
Yeah.
And this guy's complaining about 7 o'clock practice. I was just all right. So funny enough, the guy ended up graduating and became a standout high school coach, state champion teams.
No way.
And there was a point probably 7-8 years later, I was at the state meet recruiting, and he's next to me, and he's like, Gary, this kid here, he's such a pain in the what. He said he's God's way of getting back at me for everything I put you through.
Well, and how perfect that he ended up as a high school coach where practice doesn't start until 3:30 in the afternoon. Right? He found his niche.
Yeah.
He found his niche.
I think he knew he was tough to work with, and that was all I needed as far as apologies go.
Yep. Sweet redemption. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you mentioned a fartlek workout. Those are no joke. Those are tough.
Yeah.
Have you ever pretended a workout was easier than it actually was just to see how the team reacts?
Yeah, I don't know that I have. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he's not going to say it that now where some of his athletes might hear this.
Yeah.
Earmuffs are all you Wildcats.
Yeah,
Earmuffs.
serious.
It's fair.
So I just have another coaching fun question. What's a workout that you love to put the team through that they dread?
Yeah.
Is there a style of workout or a specific workout where, the folks that have been on the team for 2 or 3 years, they're like, oh no, Towne's got that one for us today?
Yeah,
Good question.
probably the long tempo. Some of the athletes really like the long tempos, and then some of the athletes absolutely dread them. But so for the guys, that's either an 8 to 10 mile continuous tempo run, where not uncommon for our top guys to run around 5:20 pace for 10 miles.
I did that for 10 steps.
Yeah, for 2 loops or a loop and a half of lower Bidwell.
Yeah.
And the women will do, our women, they ran their last 8 mile tempo before conference. It was a week before conference, and our 7 women probably average between I think Irish was probably averaging just around 6 minute pace even, and I think the rest of them were averaging like around 6:10 pace for 8 miles.
Wow.
So
I'm
yeah,
not familiar.
yeah.
I'm not
So
familiar with that.
I knew they were really fit, and I told them after, I'm like, all right, like I think we're ready to go, and we were. So yeah, but those they take some getting used to, those long tempos, and but we've had a lot of post collegiate success with the marathon, and I tell them sometimes I'll be riding next to them, and they'll be doing they'll be midway through one of those long tempos. I'm like, hey, like someday you're gonna thank me for these when you're out winning marathons, because this is the launching pad for that stuff.
Yeah.
Love that.
So I just want to share a quick personal note here. My daughter, I told you, runs cross country at Chico High. She's a freshman, and this year a couple of your runners came out and spoke. And she thought that was incredibly cool. And as a dad who's like just proud that my daughter's out there running, for her to see other women from her community that are running at such a high level and pushing themselves, and not necessarily just running, but just pushing themselves to do hard things and be active in their community. That was really awesome. And so thank you as a dad, and thank you from my daughter
That's awesome.
for, pushing your team to go out and be so active in that sense as well.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud of our athletes for getting involved in the community like that. We've got a group of maybe 5 or 6 of our younger women on the team that have been that have done some of that, met with Danny's kids, and then they've also been active with Girls on the Run locally.
Nice.
And yeah, Greg Meadows is a real big supporter of our program, and he's pretty high up in like Girls on the Run, and so yeah, they've been in the loop with him, and yeah, it's awesome. I've seen some photos. I mean, sometimes they won't tell me at all. Like I'll just run into a photo online on social media. I'm like, oh wow, that's so cool. Like a group of 6 of our women with a bunch of like local elementary school girls at like an event, and yeah, it's great. And these are athletes from all over the state, that are just really soaking in their Chico experience, really trying to get into the community and pull as much from their time here as they can.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a wonderful community.
Yeah.
And Greg, if you're listening, you've got a seat on the podcast too. We like to talk to Greg Meadows.
Yes.
That'd be pretty.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. You mentioned Irish and Della.
Yeah.
Chico locals, Chico High School, absolutely talented, incredible runners. It's fun to see them in the park.
Yeah.
Just ripping through. What do they mean to you into this program?
Honestly, I can't even. I've known their mom for a long time, since before they were born. I did a triathlon relay with Faru, and so I've known her for forever, and then the twins sort of popped up on my radar, when they started running at Chico High, and then they just like really took off their senior year, and recruiting them, I was thinking, wow, it'd be such a like an honor to have them here. First set of twins I've ever coached, but I think like they're good at running, but they're probably 4 by like as good as just being amazing humans. They are both just so positive. I can't even describe. Like there's just never a hint of like negativity in the air when they're around, and it's not manufactured. When they were young on the team, I remember we'd joke around about like they would like when they're awake and going, like they are just going, and it's just like nonstop. And then we'll be on road trips and they'll be like passed out in the van, and I'm like, okay, they're recharging. But when they're awake and going, it's amazing. And so, there's like the positivity that like is infectious on the team in a great way. They're supportive, like really like supportive of everybody around them. And it turns out, that they're incredible at running. Like they're right now they're the 2nd and 3rd fastest 5K runners in our school's history. They have 2 years to like become the 1st and 2nd. They've done, so much. And having Irish in uniform winning the conference in Chico this year was just a dream come true. It's I don't know, it's great. And Della won the conference last year individually. Someday I'm going to look back at this window and just be so grateful that I got to experience this, with them, kind of in the later years of my coaching career.
That's so sweet. And Della, did she redshirt this year or what?
Yeah, she picked up an injury this summer,
bummer.
And to be honest, the intent was to redshirt both of them this fall, which I wasn't. I wouldn't have chosen to do that because our team really. We wouldn't have qualified for nationals the past 2 years without them, and this year I didn't really know if we could do it without them, but. They convinced me last year, that they wanted to redshirt this year. So we went into the year thinking we were going to redshirt them. And Della ended up getting injured this summer, so that kind of took care of that. We definitely redshirt. But Irish was healthy and running really well. And then after like 2 meets, we decided to put her in uniform. We had a talk and she got to run conference in Chico, win it here in front of her high school coach, her mom, and the community, and Mario, Chico alumni, won the men's race. This is like just stuff that you can't like.
It's the perfect storm.
It is.
Totally.
It really is. Yeah. And I don't know. Like my time here at Chico has been honestly like just I don't know. It's been beyond what I could imagine, and these little chapters within the experience have just been incredible. 2 Chico High kids winning the conference titles in Chico.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, those Gianninis
there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gianninis ain't no weenies.
No,
That's
they're good.
Bro.
They're good.
You had Charlie too, right?
I did. Yeah, gem of a person. Yeah. Just the Gianninis are insanely talented, but also very delicate. So Mario, we've had to be just really, really careful with his training which is really boils down to those individual meetings too, because Mario and I have like had endless meetings. And he's not doing nearly as much actual running as like a lot of his peers. But
I noticed that on Strava. I follow him on Strava. Just
Nice.
try to find as many of these folks as
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
And he posted something like first double day in months or a year. Like,
I know.
wow, that's incredible to
It
run at
is.
such a high level.
It is.
For Chico State
Yeah.
and not be getting those double days
I
consistently.
know. Yeah, if he could, he would be just a world beater. And but he's cross training a fair amount. I give Mario a lot of credit for he has been through so many setbacks, and he just keeps coming back, and it's like the sport has burned him more times than he can count. He should be a many-time All-American by now, but that just hasn't kind of worked out. But we're doing everything that we can to push the right buttons and to try to find that balance. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a reflection of the program, right?
Yeah.
That you're creating is this desire to come back and be a part of the team and keep pushing it because I see everybody else is pushing it.
Yeah.
And that's what Chico State runners do. That's what the Wildcats do.
Yeah. Definitely. He's got a lot of support around him in every direction. And and that's been really helpful. and I think he knows that, we've all been moved to tears, in the office with him, having talks about some of these setbacks, so it's been a roller coaster ride, but man, the moments that have gone well. He's won 2 conference titles in cross country, and the one here in Chico obviously will go down in my memory banks as a real highlight. So yeah,
I love that. Real quick,
Yeah.
There was a freshman from Pleasant Valley High School that stormed onto the scene this year. I think her name's Julia Shepard, or
Julie?
No, okay, break it down for me. Coach.
Might be your neighbor too, or something. Live in the neighborhood.
I mean, Julia Shepard.
No, wait, it was
Paulina Martins.
No, Julie, the freshman at PV this year. That was crushing.
Oh, Julie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Julie Plummer.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. Okay. Thanks for keeping us honest. You've been keeping us honest. I appreciate that.
No, well, it's funny because Julie's parents both ran on the team. I coached her parents, and I just by chance they're neighbors of mine. And so Roxanne and I have been doing hikes. Like we go backpacking with the Plumbers every summer, probably for about 7 years in a row now. And so I've literally watched her grow up. I've climbed the top of Thompson Peak with her and her dad, 2 summers ago up in the Trinity Alps. And it's funny because like there were times where like there's another set of alumni that met on our team and are married now, and they have kids in Sacramento. Their family, the Plumbers, and Roxanne, my wife, and I go back. We all go backpacking together once a summer, and we go somewhere together. And so we're all pretty close. And but I've been watching these girls grow up, and I'll never forget. Like probably 5-6 years ago, they're probably in like 6th grade. And they wanted to run back to our house from Hooker Oak, and I was riding with them. I'm watching Julie and Reese, she's down in Sacramento. They're around the same age. I'm watching them run. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be really good. And Julie broke the section record this year as a freshman, the all-time section record at the state meet. Incredible. She is so good, and she is going to be amazing. So
get this. Family friends, you may have an inside track.
Yeah.
I mean, the D1's probably
she will.
significant, but you never know.
Yeah.
So I coached my oldest daughter's soccer team years ago, and Julie was on that team.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, they must have been in, 2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And that girl didn't stop moving.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Even at that age, she's back on defense and then down scoring a goal, and then there's a breakaway and she's back on defense and just running herself ragged and do you need to come out? She's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I don't know, Julie. I think maybe come get a drink of water and a slice of an orange and sit for a minute or two.
Yeah. Her mom, Christina, ran at Central Valley High School, and I recruited her from Shasta College. She went to New Mexico State first, and then she came here. And she was on our team our second year that we went to nationals with women's in '98. And then Mike Plummer went to PV High, her dad, and he ran here for a couple years, had some injury issues, and then just kind of went to work, and quit competitive running. But he and Christina, got married and had kids, and it's crazy how things have worked out. But yeah, all their kids are incredible. Actually, really cool story within that. We were driving up to a meet in Oregon. Where were we going? We were on the road, and the league championship for PV and Chico was going down in Chico, I believe. And we were on the road, so I couldn't watch it. And I really had hoped that the Plumbers, Justin is a senior, the oldest son, and Julie is a freshman. And I thought there's a chance that they could potentially win the individual titles, in the same year. And so I texted their mom, minutes after I knew the race had gone off from I was at a rest stop, off of I-5, I think in Oregon or something. And I'm like, how'd they do? And she's like, they won. And so it was so cool. Justin won the boys title, and Julie won the girls. I mean,
what a story.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, great family, and I don't know, classic Chico stuff.
So while we're on this topic momentarily of former runners of yours, I have another former runner of yours that when I was teaching at Paradise was a student, one of my absolute most favorite students of all times, because she was, first of all, an incredible student, incredibly smart, incredibly thoughtful, funny. Talia Swangler.
Yeah.
T-Dog Swagler.
Oh, she's great. I love Talia. Amazing. It's unfortunate that COVID took away her last year of eligibility, at least her last track season. She was really emerging. We had 2 years with her. She went to Butte for 2 years, then came here. And her sophomore or her second year with us, she just really took off and was had a really good cross season in 2019 there. And I was so excited to see what she could do that track season. And then COVID happened, and that was it. So I just ran into her, I don't know, at Thai restaurant a couple weeks ago, and gave her a big hug, and she's still in the area. And but she's another one that just local kid that it was so cool to see her flourish and turn into a really, good runner.
Yeah.
We ran against Cal Berkeley her senior year, and our women just stepped up, and like I think we might have beaten Cal. I have a photo of her with like one of Cal's top women mid race, and Talia in high school was running like 5:30 miles.
Yeah.
The woman that she was running next to in that picture ran like 4:45 as a senior, and like it was just. She just loved running, and it was really starting to, like really show itself, and so that was great. And her parents lost their home in the fire, and kind of followed that journey with like her parents. The family rebuilt the house, and so
such a cool story.
I know, she's awesome.
Yeah, that whole family is wonderful. So sorry, I want to go back to some like coaching stuff and. When you bring in new runners, whether it's incoming freshmen, like straight out of high school, or JC transfers, how many, like, if you can even quantify it, how many are ready to compete when they come onto campus? Or how common is it that new Wildcats are ready to compete from day one?
Yeah, I think, if they're coming from high school, a pretty small percentage are ready to compete here. And I should say, the part of the problem or the challenge is that they're stepping into a top 10 team in the country. And so, there would be easier teams to step into and have an immediate impact. And so, on the women's side, it's a little bit more frequent. Like this year, Paulina Martins, Orland High School, came right over and was like, massively successful right away. It was a huge part of of a really good year. But I would say maybe if you went by percent, maybe like about 10%. And for the guys, maybe like 4 or 5. Like it's really low. It's really hard because part of the problem for the men is that they're doubling their race distance in a year. So high school 5K, Chico State, NCAA championships 10K. Women 5K to 6K, not as big of a jump. And and there's definitely a prerequisite of like aerobic development usually to tackle tough 10K courses.
Sure.
So
it's not like going and running a loop in Lower Bidwell Park.
No.
There's the different terrain altogether.
Yeah, you got it.
Up and down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I feel like you got to be in good half marathon shape to be successful at the NCAA level in the 10K. And not every freshman in college is going to go out there and be in half marathon shape to do that. So.
You gotta get up there and do those day camp repeats
until
you can't walk.
Yep.
Until you can't walk.
Try to keep up with Gary on Humboldt on his bike.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's interesting that you're talking recruiting. I mean, maybe we should shift a little bit into this. I mean, what do you look for beyond times? Or maybe just how about we'll start there. I mean, when you're recruiting, what are you looking for with times of some of these athletes?
Oh, man. Things are changing rapidly. For many years, I kind of operated off of. I had sort of a set number of times that if they ran a mile in whatever, like for a while, it was like 4:20 or 9:30 for the 2 mile, or like 15:50 at the state meet cross country course. If you ran any of those times, like you'd get a spot on our team. And then we had a year about 3 years ago where we had 10 guys that hit one of those marks or more that all decided to come to Chico. And I was like, oh, wow, like this is great, but I can't take 10 guys in every year, have them here for 5 years. That'd be 50 guys. And so then it was like, okay, we need to adjust a little bit. So the next year we are a little bit more selective. And we pared the next recruiting class down a little bit. And it took a little bit quicker overall. And then last year happened, and we just had the opportunity to get some really fast guys, and we ended up with another class that was close to 10, but like the times that a lot of them had run are just kind of ridiculous.
Hard to say no.
Historically speaking, yeah. And all those guys are here now. They're redshirting as freshmen. And we also had a real solid women's recruiting group as well. And so then this year, man, my assistant and I were like, okay, we got to be careful here. We don't, we only have 3 guys graduating out of 32 on the roster. And then through the year, like we got into the state meet and they run the same course every year. And all these kids that we've been in touch with were just running crazy fast. And at the same time right now, Division I is kind of, lots of changes going on in Division I. You have the NIL stuff happening.
Yeah. Yep.
You have roster limitations happening at Division I because with all the NIL money, the big schools are putting a ton of that money towards the big sports, and they're cutting back on numbers like in cross country and track. And at the same time, they're recruiting a lot of international talent. And so then you have top American kids that don't have like as many opportunities at Division I. And then they're like, hey, Chico is a really good Division II. And so all of a sudden, we're turning away guys that are crazy good right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's wild. And so we're in a really interesting spot, especially this year. My mind is blown. Like literally I'm turning guys away that would have been like a top recruit probably 5 or 6 years ago. And it just, I can't take that many guys on and we're, basically out of scholarship money. And so, it's hard. So it's, we're having to be really selective and we're having to change our target quite a bit. With on the recruiting front, especially on the men's side. So the women's, it's not quite at that level. But on the men's, things are happening rapidly, which should, in a couple years, as these guys come in and develop, it should really translate into some pretty amazing teams. But the same thing is happening at the other top Division II schools out there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That
very interesting.
I didn't even think about how this NIL stuff is playing out and affecting other programs. I mean, let's be honest, when you're watching ESPN, you're not hearing about high or college cross country. Sometimes they'll talk about track when something incredible happens, but it's really got to be pretty incredible for the common sports fan to hear anything about it. So, that's an interesting turn of events. And I have no idea how any of this stuff works. So this is probably going to be a silly, ridiculous question. Is it at all possible at any point that Chico State cross country bumps up to Division I?
Yeah, no, I don't think that it is. I don't even know what that would take. And to be honest, I'm fine with where we're at. Because we don't really
need that can of
we
worms.
we don't have that type of funding, and we're in a really cool spot. And I tell recruits this a lot because we can compete against Division I schools during the regular season. Our fastest guy that we've had here, Scott Bowes, ran 27:48 in the 10K, which at the time was like the 4th fastest American collegiate in history, like Division I included. And he is a Division II runner at Chico State. So we're not as limited as other sports, and I love some of the things I'm really loving right now is the fact that we are developing good kids. They're running fast times and they're happy in Chico. People are like, how is the portal affecting you? And thank God, I just say, I guess everybody's enjoying their time here because
they're not
they could get on the portal and they could go get a bunch more money somewhere else, certainly. But they love Chico. They love what we have here. They love the culture of our team. They love the opportunities and they know that the grass isn't always greener. Whereas our men's basketball team, all 5 starters last year entered the portal and are gone. And they didn't even they left for I don't want to judge too much, but I don't know.
Lateral move.
And whereas it's really nice to be somewhere where the kids really appreciate their surroundings and can kind of see things for what they are and not have that grass is always greener type of attitude. So
my experience with the younger runners that I've encountered, especially longer distance runners, they're built differently. I mean, I know that's such a cliche statement. They're just built different. And I don't mean that physically. I mean that emotionally and mentally. They're just a different breed, like going back to when I was teaching high school, the kids that were, attracted to the cross country program were very different in great ways, right? They're kind of, and this is a generalization. I'm sure I'm going to piss somebody off with this, but kind of philosophical, deeper thinkers, not in as much of a rush to get things done, but understanding that what they're working toward takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication, and there's going to be setbacks, and they just accept that, like we talked about earlier with, this wasn't a great run today, but I found something in that run that's going to help me on the next one that's challenging. And it just seems that's again, in my limited experience, that a lot of those longer distance younger runners have that kind of mindset.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and like I said earlier, I feel like they're here for the right. They picked Chico initially not because we had the biggest scholarship, because we just don't. And but they picked us because they liked the fit and the community, Bidwell. And so that probably helps a lot with retention, especially when they get here and realize that, we weren't selling them a used car.
Yeah. So when you are bringing in new recruits, again, freshmen or transfers, what's a non-negotiable for someone that wants to be a part of Wildcat running?
Yeah, I think they have to be bought in, and they have to be at practice every day. And it's interesting because I think sometimes athletes in our sport can be maybe if they're at a high school program where our sport is looked at as maybe like a second tier sport, they've gotten away with like fewer expectations as far as just being at practice every day. If you're on the basketball team or football team, your coach is going to make sure you're there, and you're going to know it if they want. But if you're like on the track team, sometimes if you're not in a really good program, they might just be more lax and just allow you to kind of float along. And I'm pretty clear with them from the beginning, and with the double days that we have and everything, it's just non-negotiable as far as like unless you have a class conflict or work or something, you're supposed to be there, and I want you to be a part of things, and otherwise you're a weak link in the chain, and if people see that you're not showing up, then they're going to start not showing up, and then you've got a team that's underperforming. And so
and I would imagine that your top 6, 7, 10 runners set that precedent for the rest of the team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're great. They hold each other accountable. If they see attendance is a little bit lighter at weights or something, then the upperclassmen come down and say, hey, like, where were you today? And so it's great, and in a good way. And so the young ones need some talks. I have taught. It's funny. I'm friends with a lot of our alumni, and I get together with some of them in the summertime, and they're guys in their 40s now that can remember a conversation I had with them in the office their freshman year, where I said, dude, like, you cannot miss any more morning practices. Like Tyler Graff, he's like, I did not miss one more morning practice. I went like straight through the rest of my career, multiple time All-American and stuff. But so sometimes you just got to set them straight early on. Yeah.
That's part of evaluating character and fit, right?
Yeah. So nobody is too big for the program, right? You got to you got to hold people accountable.
I imagine you don't encounter this too often, but have you ever had to pitch to a recruit who's never heard of Chico State?
Yeah, the first recruit that I ever talked to, I was the assistant coach. I'd gone down to San Diego to run the San Diego Marathon, and Jean, our head cross country coach at the time, said, "Hey, like, why don't you do some recruiting while you're down there?" So she rented my car for me when I was there as a sort of payment for like recruiting. So I went to one of the community colleges, and I talked to the coach there, and I had this guy in mind that I wanted to talk to, and he brought him in the office, and I said, I'm here from Chico State. Have you heard of Chico before? And he said, he's like, is there a prison there?
No, that's Chino's.
And I've had that a few times since then, so that's probably, so there are some people out there that it's not on their radar. But I think through the years, honestly, it's kind of cool running into like I mean, I've run into professional athletes that, ran in the NCAA system at Division I that when I see them somewhere, they'll be like, Chico, like I know about, like, they'll do the Chico chant. Like, like it's really cool to see that, like, because we are on the radar, like we've through the years, the things that we've done has kind of trickled up into, kind of the upper echelon of the sport to some degree, which is great. Putting little Chico on the map. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Chico.
Yeah. And what's really cool is that Chico High does something very similar to that.
Dude, they have completely taken our pre-race cheer. It's pretty funny.
It's been co-opted.
Yeah, Gert apologized to me. He's like, we hosted the conference championship in 2013 on the course at Hooker Oak, and Kevin's like, hey, can I get that course map? Like, that was really cool. And so then they started hosting their invite, like on the same layout. Yep. And then next thing you know, they're doing our pre-race cheer. But they keep sending great athletes to us, so it's worked out. It's been and they all know the pre-race chant pretty well before they arrive, so it's good.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so a couple funny questions here now, again, on recruiting. What's the funniest recruiting call you've ever made?
Oh, man.
Funny, awkward?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some awkward ones. I was trying to think of something, but I don't know if I could pull one out. My brain is not the greatest at like digging out. I'm sure after I leave, I'll be like, oh my God, how did I forget that one?
You've shared some amazing stories.
Yeah. I've had some, some funny talks. I had a conversation with a mom and her daughter 2 years ago. They're from Oregon. That was, I thought, after 30 years or plus of recruiting, that I'd pretty much answered all the questions that I could. And I feel like pretty confident when I'm on the phone. But man, some of the questions that this mom had for me, like I can't remember exactly what they were, but I was like, wow, okay, I have never been asked that before. But
can I email you with the response?
Yeah, exactly. I know. In fact, I think I did. Like I gave them the best I could, but then I literally, I'm probably biking the next morning thinking more about it, and I did a follow-up email just to make sure that that they were aware that I wasn't just winging it.
Yeah.
It's just my brain doesn't function that quickly, especially with like a question that's kind of out of left field,
Sure.
Yeah, overall, I don't know. I've had some, probably more funny emails that I get sometimes. I got an email a couple of years ago from a guy that told me how he got interested in running because there were cute girls on the running team at his high school. I don't know why he decided.
You got to respect the honesty. I guess.
He went to Humboldt.
Okay.
But yeah, and he was a character.
That'd be a good place for him.
Yeah,
then.
good place. Yeah. Although I don't know. Anyway, no comment. But yeah, it was. I don't know. I have a collection of like my favorite crazy emails. Sometimes I'll just share like some gems with some of our alumni that are just too good. I'll erase the name and. Yeah, kids send you the funniest stuff. They might have the schools completely wrong. They forgot to change the school name or the
Dear UC Davis.
Yeah.
No. Straight to the filing cabinet.
Yeah.
This one's out of
here.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of cycling, ever been out for one of your crazy bike rides and seen a runner and been like, "Hey, you looking for a place to run?"
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of runners out there, and I know. Let's see. Sometimes I have done some recruiting on the bike ride too. So one time I was up on Highway 32, and I got a call from a top recruit. And I knew it was kind of the time of the year where he was making a decision, and so I literally got like the word that he was coming to Chico like while I was mid ride, which is really cool.
Smashing down Humboldt.
Yeah. So I was like,
let's do one more rep. One more.
Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's what I was thinking. Like, if you're climbing Humboldt, you've got your earbuds in. It's time to make a call. You're gonna, spend 20 minutes on the phone on one of these long cycling rides.
I think yes. I've definitely been on the phone with recruits when I've been riding, and then they're asking me, "What's that sound in the background?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm riding home from work."
Yeah. Why are you breathing so heavy? Are you riding a bike uphill right now?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on number
Pretty-
31 going up
Yeah.
going up toward Cohasset.
Pretty good
I got
chance.
2 more.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That is.
Okay, Pete, we live in a really nice place.
We talk about it every podcast.
We do.
It's a theme.
I've kind of wondered, we see Chico State runners smashing through Lower Park.
Yep.
It makes sense, right? And sometimes they're off on the side on the trail there. What about maybe Upper Park? Obviously, it's very tricky terrain, so the risk for injury is significant. Your philosophy on urging the kids to use the park, Coach?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And that kind of has evolved a bit through the years. I feel like in my earlier years, I sometimes would encourage them to get out and get into the hills of Upper Park a bit more, Guardians Trail and the south side. But now, man, I don't know. We just have a rash of like ankle kids with some pretty loose ankles, and so I'm a little nervous about risk versus reward.
Totally.
And so we kind of give them the flexibility of like, when we did a long run in Upper Park last weekend, we parked at Hooker Oak and they kind of launch into the park. But I think most of them, kind of might hit Yahi and then Upper Park Road. And most of it's spent, on the gravel and Upper Park Road. But then some of them do venture over to the South Rim or the South Side. Those are my favorites probably, for running. Like Guardians is amazing, and the views and Annie's Trail, I love that. I really like, they've kind of changed it up. They kind of improved it and adjusted it, like I think maybe around COVID time or something. Because it didn't always go through like the Olive Grove early there and go directly under. You used to kind of have to take Guardians and then drop down a bit later down Tennis Ball Hill. But anyway, like it's changed, and it's a pretty runnable trail, and I love that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think with our team, I'm just a little bit nervous about like the unsteadiness. And I was thinking about it before in the past couple weeks, I think part of it is just everybody's wearing these high stack shoes these days, and that like you gotta be careful in those. It's easier to roll. Yeah. And so yeah, not all the kids have trail shoes, but yeah, some of them do. And Ross and I were talking a little bit earlier today about like our we've got some really good ultra trail runners that have graduated from our university and our program. Some of the best in the world, like Anthony Costellas took third at Western States overall a couple years ago. Tim Tollefson took third at UTMB in the big race, about probably 8 years ago or something. And Jimmy Elam just won the 200 miler down in Mammoth, and he's broken course records all across the United States. These guys are really good. And
can you connect us with those
guys?
I
know, they're amazing. I mean, Tim puts on that race at the Trail Fest down in Mammoth, and he's very accessible. Like Karen Scott's like,
I was just going to say, Karen runs that frequently. And now that I learned that she ran with you for you at Chico State, it makes sense that she knows him.
And they never overlapped at Chico, but they, she knew that he was a Chico alumni, and then he found out that she was, and there's that connection. But these guys, like their transition to trails, I think definitely, was partially due to their, some of those long runs in the Upper Park and getting, developing a love for the single track that we have. And personally, I love that stuff. So it's I had kind of a last gasp in my running career. When I was 47 years old, I had put, like in my earlier running career, I had done a lot of 100, 120 mile weeks, like training for marathons. But I'd never done a 100-mile week in singles, just one run a day. But for whatever reason, over the winter and when I was 47, I did a 100-mile week in singles and almost entirely on the trails in Upper Park. I was running trails I'd never been on before. And my last run, I ran from my house all the way up the heart of Upper Park Trail, across the creek, went into the preserve, ran all the way up to the Forest Ranch store, and then double back on Highway 32 and finished an 18 miler to cap the 100-mile week. Had my wife pick me up on 32, and yeah, I did 100-mile week like in singles, and a lot of it was like Upper Park, and so I don't know, that was like such a great week, and I'm so glad I did it. Like at 47, I was just stoked that I was able to do that, and then I parlayed that into I did a all-comers track meet that our team was at that spring, and I broke 5 minutes in the mile like on the track. Yeah, gosh. To be completely honest, it took me until I was 20 years old to break 5 minutes in the mile. And so I ran faster at age 47 than I did, through high school. But a lot of it was like that base that I built like through the winter and running in Upper Park. And then I kind of got on the track some that spring kind of carefully and did enough like speed work and didn't hurt myself. And I ran 4:59.91 or something. Sub 5. I know.
That's sub 5.
And it was a full mile. It wasn't 4 hours, it was a full mile. So automatic timing and everything. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Go get that big base, baby.
Yeah.
Go get those 100 miles.
Yeah. So Ross, this has me thinking. You did, what was it, 450 miles in the month of December.
Something even more.
So maybe there's a sub 5 minute mile in your near future.
I don't know. I don't got that. Maybe that'd be awesome.
It's just insert speed here now. Yeah. It's like,
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's tough.
Well,
I do feel faster, but I'm not quite as fast as I want to be yet.
When Coach puts the sign-ups up, make sure you get
signed up
as possible.
There was a really cool video I saw earlier this year. I think it might have been Honey Run Road. The team was just hauling up that. That seems like a cool little training workout you do. Anyways, tell us about that.
Or it could have been it was probably in Centerville.
That's it. That's it. Yep.
Because we go to Centerville, right? It's out Honey Run, then you go left to Centerville, and where Centerville Road turns into gravel, we park there at the Flume, do a warm up, and then we'll do intervals up towards Magalia on the dirt road, and it's beautiful. Like the Butte Creek Canyon is on your left down below, and it's a good there's a good 4.5 miles of like pretty good climbing on dirt. We don't use that entire segment, but we'll do like 2-minute repeats up for about 3 miles, and then we'll turn around and cool down back to where we started. But that's a really pretty awesome stretch of road. Beautiful. My assistant Scott has a drone, and he's captured some really cool video footage of them up there.
You ready, Pete?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's. Okay.
That sounds like a good workout.
I got to work tomorrow. So speaking of drone footage, your social media, I don't know who does it.
Yeah, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah, he's amazing.
It's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, the clips and the reels you guys put out are so fun.
He does a great job. Yeah, Scott is so awesome. Yeah, I agree. And it's such a great glimpse into the area that we have, right?
Yeah.
And we train in Cohasset, we train in Forest Ranch, we train in Butte Meadows, we train in Magalia, we train in Centerville.
Tahoe every summer.
Yeah. And so it's so nice to like document that and share it with people, because people that are visiting have no idea that we have pine forests like 15 minutes away. And
or that it snows right up the hill.
I know, exactly. Yeah. And so we've got it pretty good here, and it's nice to be able to share that with people that are looking at us, and of course like our alumni. Really, it brings back memories for them.
Well, in the age of social media, it's a great recruiting tool as well, right?
Point. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
very much.
So some of those, I don't know, loops or spots got to be your favorite. What about just kind of like locally around here, maybe like Bidwell Park? What are your favorite loops or iconic training spots for these teams?
Yeah, I think in Upper Park, I think sometimes we might go out Upper Park Road, cross the creek, and then go up into the nature preserve, and then maybe go do an out and back. You just got to do the creek crossing there, where you guys know where that natural spot is. Yeah, that's really cool. It's so beautiful along there. Cross the creek, and then you just parallel the creek on the other side into the nature preserve. Those are some amazing runs, you just feel like you're out in the wilderness, but you're so close to home, really. So those are good. And then I found a cool run during COVID up in Butte Meadows that we do. It's called the A-Line, and it's a 17-mile-long dirt road that starts just across the river from the Bambi Inn. Really easy to get to, and it is like almost like flat for 17 miles. It's an old railroad grade, and it's all like perfect for running, and beautiful views. You can see all the way to the valley in spots, and you're up at 4,400 feet in the pine forest. It's gorgeous, and so great for long runs. Like if you get a chance, I was riding with some my fellow cyclists. This couple that lives up in Forest Ranch, they're retired, and we were out for a ride over COVID up in Butte Meadows, and they were describing A-Line, and I was like, wait, there's a dirt road up here that's 17 miles long, and it's like flat, and they're like, yeah, and so I had them drop me off there, like on our way back from this long ride we did. I was like, can you just take me to the start of it, and I'll just add on. And they did, and I rode probably 10 miles out on it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm bringing the team up here. As soon as we get back
Tomorrow
from COVID,
morning.
yeah. And A-Line, it is amazing. And yeah, it's right there by Sterling. So you could literally start right there by the creek. You could do a long run up there, and then you could get down in the creek and ice after. Like it's amazing. Yeah, we have it good here. So
You're dropping some knowledge on us,
Yeah,
Gary. You're giving me like,
hopefully some people get up there. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm anticipating this opportunity to
Yeah.
go check that out.
Yeah, A-Line.
That's amazing. Okay, little light moment. When did you realize Chico State's becoming a dynasty?
That is not a moment type thing, I think.
Fair.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was sometimes I think back to my early years, and when I was trying to kind of promote the program. And I remember I had this banner that I put together outside the office. It's a Chico State cross country, a tradition of excellence. We hadn't even won a conference title yet. I'm like, I don't know where I got that from, but
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, exactly.
Just manifested it. That's all.
I don't even know why I remember that, but I think at times I would be like, I don't even know if gaslighting was like a word then, but I was kind of gaslighting myself. But but yeah, I don't know. I think along the way, it's just things have happened. And to be completely honest, like I said earlier, I could have never dreamed in my wildest dreams that we'd be here talking about these stats and stuff. So it's been a dream come true.
So cool. Pete?
Yeah, so let's get into more of these stories that the listeners want, right? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of some fun stuff here. So what... maybe you can identify one or two, because I'm sure you could really go on forever. What are some memorable races over the years?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna flip through a couple without taking a bunch of time, and this is kind of in chronological order because I've been doing this a long time, and I will be completely honest. Like I have been a part of like more like crazy, exciting days than I deserve to have been a part of. It's crazy. So I'm leaving stuff out, but 99 when our men's team took 6th out of nowhere, that was like that was kind of mind blowing. 2002 was the first 2002. We had not won the conference yet, but we were building. Like we were like. We had been to nationals a couple of years, but Davis and Humboldt kind of owned us, especially Davis. But we were to the point where we were like, we had a team, men and women, that I felt like could beat Davis on a given day. And thankfully, the most important thing was that we had a team that felt like they could beat Davis on a given day. And so we went into the conference meet, and it was Davis's last year in Division II. And so it was like, okay, like this is our last chance to to beat them, to have a chance to beat them in meaningful races, and they're going to be off to Division I after this. So, and they knowing that they were going to be in what do you call it? Like you got to spend like 3 years non-championship. So they redshirted nobody. They ran everybody in uniform. They threw everything at the 2002 season. And our guys beat them at conference. Our women beat them at conference, won the conference titles, men and women, which started the 23-year streak.
Yeah.
And for the guys,
Wow.
women beat them, went to regionals, and they thought that conference is a total fluke. Davis did. And this is the early days of the internet, and they were trading some message board stuff that what probably wasn't the most healthy thing in the world. There's a big rivalry. And we beat them at regionals for the men. Their women eked it out and won the region. But then we went to nationals, and we beat them again there. Both of our teams were, I think, 5th at nationals that year. And that was the first year of our 23-year streak for the guys. And it was just a year where we finally turned the corner and we're doing things that we had dreamed of doing. And then in 2007, we redshirted our top 2 women that year, and our women went to conference and we perfect scored it. I don't know how. We went 1 through 5 overall.
Wow.
Yeah, like our 5th runner beat everybody else's number 1 runner without our top 2 runners. That was incredible down in Pomona. Unreal. Our number 2 woman that year, her son is on the team right now, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
And she was pregnant with him while she was on our team. Crazy stories. Then 2010, we can run at our conference meet. We can run 10 athletes. Every team can run 10 athletes, right? In 2010, our women went 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 13th.
Damn.
That's all 10 of them. Against the conference, like they went 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and our 10th runner took 13th. That was pretty incredible. In 2011, the next year, the men put the top 10, our 10th guy the next year took 11th overall in the conference championship. So we put 10 in the top 11 in 2010. That was kind of mind blowing. And then in 2013, we hosted in Chico, and we went 1 through 6. Ross covered that as a sportscaster.
That's
amazing day.
That was such a fun day.
Yeah, we had been so close to having a perfect score on the men's side, but we went 1 through 4. And then Pomona's top guy would take 5th, and it would ruin our perfect score. Like that happened twice before 2013. But at 2013, we're hosting, and that same guy that had ruined our perfect score previously had his twin brother join him from a D1 for both of their last years at Pomona. We were racing them here, and our top 6 guys got away from them in the last loop and ran into the finish. And we won it and perfect scored it. Which is the only perfect score in our conference history for the men. That was really cool. And then 2019, Nationals in Sacramento, really big day. We had 500 fans out there in Sacramento, and our guys took 3rd overall at NCAAs, which was really a solid performance in today's NCAA. And Jack Emanuel, Chico High kid.
Yeah,
was
Jack.
he was like he's All-American, top 25, I believe. And then this year really kind of caps it with our postseason run, especially conference here in Chico. We went into both races this year. Honestly, our guys had won 22 in a row. I would have ranked as 2nd going in this year behind Pomona. They had a really good team, a bunch of solid returners with a lot of experience, and we had not nearly that much experience. We really needed Mario and Damien to step up and score little points, which they did. And then we just needed some new guys to step in, which they did. So our guys got the win. And then the women, Stanislas's women, I would have ranked them first going into the conference meet, and our women got the job done. So that was a really memorable, day hosting. Those are the ones that really stand out, on the cross country front. But pretty cool. And I mean, this year, I don't know, I was probably as emotional as I've ever been after a race after this year's conference meet. That was, felt like both teams were underdogs, and I felt like both teams won because we hosted, which is pretty cool. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool,
Yeah.
Gary, man. Congratulations,
thanks.
man. Thanks
it's been
for
fun.
breaking some of that down.
Yeah.
It's
No, it's
so cool. You mentioned Mr. Baus a while back, and I'm sure there's individual performances that you come to mind. I remember watching him covering some races. I loved the intensity that his face had when he was running. I'm not sure that guy was training heart rate. I feel like his heart rate must have been being so fast because he was so intense. His face was just insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, individually, are there athletes like that who have left a lasting impression? I know that guy left a lasting impression on me with the camera.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Scott, it's funny, like, I got into coaching. I was into coaching for a while, and I'd see coaches around me that it's like, dang, like they had this athlete that was like a total standout, and I'm like, man, I wonder if we're ever gonna have like one of those athletes. And then Scott came along, and it was like, oh wow, okay,
got one.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, his progression was just crazy. Like literally every year, basically taking a minute off of his 10K. And some of the races, his breakthrough was his redshirt sophomore year in track. He went into the national championship 10K up against a Kenyan guy from Abilene Christian that was undefeated. And the Abilene Christian guy had won the Stanford Invitational A heat. And beat the defending Division I champion in that race. And he beat Ryan Hall 2 weeks after Ryan Hall broke the American record in the half marathon. Like this Abilene Christian guy beat them all. And the funny thing is Scott ran Stanford as well. But Scott was in the second heat at Stanford, the slower heat. And they ran the second heat first. Scott takes third in like the B heat. And he ran a big PR, and he steps off the track. He's pretty proud of himself. He just ran 28:53 in the 10K. We're pretty happy. And then we watched the A heat go, and we knew that Nicodemus from Abilene was in the A heat, and we're watching him. He's up there, and he won it. And I'm like, oh God, he ran almost a minute faster than what Scott had just run.
Whoa.
And Scott, like, I'll never forget this. He looked at me and he's like, I'm still going to beat him at nationals. and at nationals, we set up Scott went in ranked like 4th or 5th. And we set up a game plan to kind of like work off the pack and not like if Nicodemus took off from the front, not to go with him because he could blow up and it could be a bad outcome. And Scott finishes like, 5th or 6th, but I felt like he was at least the number 2 guy in the field. And so with 2 miles to go, Nicodemus was about 80 meters up the track from the pack. And that was when Scott kind of had the green light to like try to give chase. And literally in the next 8 laps, like Scott, with every lap covered, made up a bit of ground, made up a bit of ground, made up a bit of ground. And with 600 meters to go, he caught Nicodemus right in front of me. And I'm like, dude, thankfully it happened right in front of me. I said, keep going, like just keep stepping on it. And so he just immediately went around him because Nicodemus has a really good kick. And I felt like he needed to like try to run the kick at him. So Scott just took the lead and just really pressed. And they traded the lead probably 3 different times over the last lap.
No way.
And then Scott broke him in the last like 30 meters and won the race. And it was like, to this day, maybe the greatest race I've ever watched in my life. He ran a 4:14 for the last mile, and
oh my gosh,
yeah, it was crazy, and everybody that was there was like they couldn't believe it. Like Nicodemus had not been beaten, at all, and then this is the coolest thing was that the 5K final was 2 days later. Nicodemus was going to run the steeplechase, so he's out of the equation. Sky is the clear favorite in the 5K. But he's got a senior teammate, Charlie, who used to have the school records before Scott got here. And Charlie was the guy that was like had a pretty big ego and didn't really like having a sophomore breaking all of his records. And so he didn't make life easy on Scott. And so I met with Scott after the 10K. I'm like, okay, how do you want to approach like the 5K? He's like, I'd really like to help Charlie win the national title if we can. And so I was like, all right. And so then I met with Charlie and the 3 of us, and we set up a game plan for the 5K final that would allow Scott to try to help Charlie win the race. And it worked out perfectly to where Scott like literally pulled him they literally worked with the leaders, and then in the late stages of the race, the two of them were able to break away and separate from the group. And with 100 to go, they're sprinting down to the finish, and Scott could have easily won it, and he just kind of eased up, and Charlie crosses the line, national champion. So
Goosebumps.
pretty cool stuff. And Scott was young; he had just won his first national title.
Yeah.
And to give like his second national title away
Yeah.
to a teammate that was a senior that had been not like the kindest of teammates, because it was hard for Charlie to but like such an incredible gesture, something I think is overlooked by a lot of people. But yeah, they went 1-2 in the 5K, which was really cool.
That's such a cool story. And I think what a lot of common folk, me, Ross, don't really understand about racing like this with a team is how you create strategies and run off of one another, pulling each other, somebody setting the pace or letting, the front runner that, he's going to set the pace. We just got to wait for him to break and then we can pass him. I've read a couple books recently, Bowerman and the Men of Oregon, the front runner about Prefontaine, and just reading the strategy stuff is so interesting because again, if you're not embedded in that world, you have no idea how methodical those races are.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's part of the fun thing. I really enjoy when we get to the championships. I love strategizing and developing a plan that that maximizes our chances and our strengths. And also maybe capitalizes off of like what we know of like the competition. And those races definitely were, and they played out as well as we could have hoped. And
right, that's like the dream come true. Like we've set up this strategy and it played out exactly as we wanted to, because I'm sure you come up with great strategies, but there's so many variables, right? Depending on what the other guys are doing or the other women are doing, it totally changes things. Wow, that's so cool to get that behind the scenes.
So true.
Like, we talked about this was our plan. This is how we set it up. He was going to just, follow that leader for as long as he could. And when we hit this mark, he's out. Oh, that's so cool.
That was great. Yeah. Those were fun days. Yeah. And then Scott went on to like, just do, it was the next year. He's a redshirt junior, and he had really turned the corner. He had run, he went from 28:53 to 27:48. Like the Olympic A standard was 27:50, and that's why our school record is 27:48. Like that dude was absolutely locked into, breaking that, getting the Olympic A standard, so he would have a chance at making the Olympic team. I've joked with him because the A standard these days is down like close to 27 flat, which is just insane. And I'm like, dude, like it's too bad the A standard was so slow back then. Our school record would be like 26:58 now, like because he would have done anything to like get that. And he had a mindset that was incredible. And he broke 4 in the mile here. He ran at the World Championships in cross country for the U.S. as a senior, like not the junior team, but like the senior team.
Holy cow!
He ran a 1:03.04 in the half marathon while he was on our team.
I just did like 9 miles in that time today.
He was redshirting because he ran 3 years in a row in cross, and then he redshirted his 4th year, and he wanted to run a half marathon. And so I trained him I tweaked training a bit in the fall, got him into San Jose Rock and Roll half marathon. And this is classic Scott Bowes. I meet with him before I'm down there, and I'm like, hey, first half marathon, let's keep things like in like the 4:55 to 5-minute range early, and then kind of like let's build into it depending on how your body is doing. And so I go out to the 3-mile mark. I'm on my mountain bike, and I'm waiting there with my camera, and the lead pack is like this group of like 8 Kenyans and this like blonde-haired, like long-legged Scott Bowes, and they roll through in 14:21, and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me, dude! Like that is not 4:55 pace, and like it was, and he just kept rolling with them. He was such a competitor, just like unafraid, and you just can't teach that. So Yeah, that was, I mean, he was special. So that was the American record for 21 and under at the time. 103.04 was. So, yeah, he was special. So it was really cool.
What a fighter.
Yeah.
Love that.
So, as an aside, I can tell you're a coach because you have a precise memory of the races, the exact times down to the fractions of seconds. Like you're absolutely a coach.
No, he went through 6 miles on 28:40, which is the same exact split for the next 3 miles, and he'd been dropped by that whole group of Kenyans. Like they're all ahead of him. And so I was kind of riding with him. And I remember I would split on my watch. I'd split like miles here and there. I was trying not to I didn't want to be accused of pacing him. So I was like kind of back and forth. But he got to 10 miles and he's like, hey, that would have won the 10-mile national title a couple weeks ago, like the road 10-mile championship. Like he just split faster than the winning time from that.
Damn.
And I was like, yeah, but you just ran a 9:50 2-mile there, and he didn't know that he had slowed down that much. So he just like hammered the last 5K and caught a couple of those Kenyans, and ran 103.04. But it was fun. That's why I can kind of remember it, because I don't know, it just kind of stuck in my memory. I was both like so blown away and excited about it all that it's hard to forget, I suppose.
Yeah, that's cool. I was in the park fairly recently. I saw Kyle Medina flying by.
Yeah.
He's a guy who had a hell of a
He
career.
did, yeah.
Any others come to mind?
Oh, yeah. We've had a lot of.
Sure.
Yeah, Kyle. Will Reyes is still in town.
Yeah, I saw Will too.
Yeah,
recently.
Will's been out. He's in Upper Park a lot running, and Will was a special athlete, sub 14-minute 5K runner. Kyle still has our steeplechase school record, and the just steeple, I think now. He had the 15, but we have a guy, Damien, right now that broke his 1,500-meter record.
Yeah, he's kind of fast.
Damien's really good. 3:39 is
good with the kids
rolling.
too, right?
He is
Striders?
awesome.
Yeah.
He is he's a strider coach. Yeah, he is amazing human being. Yeah, just a great guy. So love Damien, and he's got big goals. He's going to try to break 4 in the mile here at our meet in April. We'll try to get the word out. He ran 4:01 last year, all by himself, more
that's
or less.
right.
Yeah. So, and then 3:39 equates to like faster than a sub 4. So
Ross, I think we need to be in attendance for that.
Yeah,
one.
we do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And I think we need to make a live stream of us watching that race.
That'd be cool.
Great idea.
Yeah.
We'll post
That'd be
it.
so fun.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be good.
A live pod on the run.
Yeah.
Watching Damien on the move.
Yeah. Okay, so you've identified a couple of your men that have been memorable. How about a couple ladies?
Good
that
call.
are memorable?
Good call.
We've had a lot of let's see, Marissa Diatri just graduated a couple of years ago. She broke our school record in the 5K, ran 16:14 for the 5K on the track.
Casual.
She came up from San Diego State actually, and was just loved Chico, and had a great experience. We've had a lot. Olivia Watt is one that walked onto our team, or high school principal or vice principal. I coached his daughter years before, and he wasn't even coaching track anymore. He's like, hey, I got this girl on our track team. She's kind of a 400-meter runner, hurdler, but never run cross country before. Came here and just kind of started from ground zero and worked forward. And she was third at the NCAA championships and All-American in 800 and the 1500. And we've had a lot of standout women. In fact, like Aaliyah Gray is a good one. She was number 3 runner on our high school team in Santa Rosa, came here, broke our school record in the 10K, was a 16:40 5K runner for us, All-American in cross and track, graduates. I worked with her for a year after, and she ran Cal International, and because I told her, I think you're going to be a good marathon runner. She ran it on a really bad weather day, and still ran like 2:46 or 8. And then that track season ran like a 33 low 10K, which is a PR. Moves to Colorado, kept training, kept racing, joined a group out there, got down to 31:59 in the 10K on the track, and got down to 15:30 in the 5K, and took 10th at the Olympic Trials Marathon in LA in 2016.
way.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah, really cool. And she got down to 2:30 in the marathon. That's yeah. Yeah. And then Kara Lubinecki was with Aaliyah. They're both being inducted in the Hall of Fame actually this coming fall for Chico State.
Good.
But Kara went on to run 2:36 in the marathon, 32:30 in the 10K on the track, yeah. So I'm proud of, like, we've had, gosh, like probably 10 to 12 women run the Olympic Trials Marathon in the past, like, I don't know, maybe 4 editions, which has been a lot of fun. So, yeah.
I respect all runners, all distance runners, obviously, but anybody who can go run a 10K on a track.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's some mental resolve and focus that I don't know that I could muster.
It's
at least not for speed.
Yeah, it's a bit of an art. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to figure it out personally. Like, in college, I could not do. I did it, but it was horrible. But it was like I spent years after college just trying to get better at it, and I finally ran like a 10K well after college that I was proud of. It was way faster than my 5K PR pace from college, but it just took a while to get comfortable on the track, and with the laps, and
that's 26, right?
25.
25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, but you're right. It is, and we have athletes on our team that are really, really good. Physically,
they just love it, right? They just lock in, and it's just mindless.
Some are like, they're physiologically perfectly wired for it, but mentally not at all. And that's really hard to watch because you know that there's so much more there, and we just can't get it figured out. And then there are others that just like totally take to it naturally.
Wow.
Like the mental part of it. But you're right. It is. It's not easy. So.
You mentioned something that's kind of interesting to me is the runners who have gone to go from these collegiate distances and then stretching it out afterwards, like running halves or Aaliyah running fulls. How often do you see that happen from Wildcats that you've coached, cross country, and then as they get a little older, now they start to stretch it out? Or you even mentioned people who are now doing ultras.
Yeah.
It seems like they're focusing on a lot of speed in college, and then obviously the speed's important and it sticks with you, but then they start to stretch it out. Am I onto something here?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I think that's kind of a almost like a logical progression, because your body, maybe your fastest years speed wise are probably in your 20s, right? But then endurance, you can, if you stretch out the distance a bit, like maybe your best marathon runner into your 30s, and there are some women that the Australian national record holder until very recently was like 45 when she ran that time, Sinead Diver. She ran 2:21 or 2:22 as like a 45-year-old. But yeah, and so the longer stuff, the aging process isn't as like limiting, I guess you could say. And then all the accumulated mileage that you're doing really helps with the longer stuff, and so lifetime miles. I feel like we have a good track record, pun intended, of of having alumni that continue the sport. And I'm proud of that because I feel like people are graduating from our program and they're not burned out from like what we're doing here, and they've grown to love it. Not all of them, but we have a good number of them that branch out. And Danny DeMeo ran some marathons after he graduated, and the marathon's kind of a bucket list thing for a lot of athletes, so yeah. But I'm definitely like proud that I remember I was at the LA Olympic Trials, and I was on the side of the course talking to this guy that was a UCLA alumni, and he was talking to me. He's like, "Oh, Chico, and what are you doing here?" It's like, "Well, we got like 6 alumni running today," and he was just blown away. He's like, "Wait, you have 6 alumni from Chico State here?" Like, yeah, we had like 4 women and 2 guys. Like, oh my God, that's incredible. But yeah, it's a real source of pride, you know, to have like, representation like that. It's getting harder because the Olympic trials standards are going down. It was like 219 then for the guys, and it was like maybe 244 for quite a while for the women or something like that. Now it's like 236, I think, and like 216, under 216. That's
so fast.
Yeah, it's getting quick. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice. We have some guys that are guys and women that are graduating that are moving into that stuff, and yeah, it's fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
How about we build the perfect Chico State runner?
That's what I was just thinking.
You want to think?
Yeah.
Okay, take it away, Pete.
Okay. So, Gary, this is for you. You can take a second to think as we go through this. So we're going to build our perfect Chico State runner. Fill in the blank, okay? We have 4 different components.
Yeah.
Work ethic of...
I'm going to say Olivia Watt. I mentioned her earlier. Olivia came in with like very little background in running, and she was a half-mile specialist. And she got up to 75 miles a week during track season by her senior year. Was an absolute like monster competitor, but was not afraid to put in work. I mean, you know, a lot of times you have like half milers and milers that they think like, oh, like I don't need to do, you know, that much mileage. You know, it's only a 2-lap race. But she got really strong aerobically from like doing some really good work. And I think in her pursuit of becoming a good cross country runner, you know, she realized like, wow, like I can turn this strength into speed. Yeah, and she was also on our school record 4x4 team, like in the relay, ran 56 splits for us.
Whoa.
But yeah, running 70 to 75 miles a week, like in the bigger weeks. So yeah, her work ethic was unparalleled, and yeah, she is awesome.
Okay. The kick of...
Yeah, I would say Sarah Montez. We'll stick on the women's theme here. Sarah had a really wicked kick that... she's a Southern California native from Simi Valley, went to Royal High School, and her senior year, national championships in LA at Mount Sac, and Sarah was ranked 7th going into the 3K final. She had barely missed making the final of the 1500. It was rough. She got in a really tough heat, kind of got edged out at the line, was pretty like upset about like not making the 1500 final. And goes into the 3K final, and she's on a mission, and ran like a 65 last lap, and stole the race. Like won the thing going away in her last race in uniform. It was so unexpected that I was not near the finish with a camera. And I remember thinking like, my God, like I should have captured that moment. That was incredible. And thank God, like a professional photographer did get it. And I have that photo in my office, arms overhead, eyes closed, the competition behind her. It was incredible. And doing it at home, like in LA, her grandparents were there, and they pretty much like raised her. Just such a great story. And that girl could close a race. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So it's not just physical things that make up a good racer, right? Or a good athlete. The sense of humor of...
Yeah, I would have to go with Tim Cannon. And so Tim's story, anybody that was on the team with Tim would completely agree with this answer. This guy was such a character. I had recruited him out of high school. I went to Rockland High. We had some of his teammates here. He kind of was big time in us early. Went to Division I, Cal Poly. And then finally came to his senses and transferred into Chico. But so Tim, coming into that first semester here that he was joining us, is in the fall. He was a finalist for the Survivor, like the show.
Yeah.
And he was like literally had to be flown down there to be interviewed. Like he was one of the people that was one of the final ones they were picking between to do the thing. And Tim, because he could make these amazing videos, like he's really, really funny. And so anyway, they tell you that you're not allowed to tell anybody like where you're going.
Yeah.
But he's gonna have to miss the whole like first 3 or 4 days of practice with us to go down for this thing. And he's like, he explained to them, hey, I have to tell my coach like what's going on, because I'm literally just joining this new team. And so he told me about it, and I was just like, dude, just go. Yeah. Like, he thankfully didn't pick him, and so we were able to have him. But that guy, his videos were next level. In fact, he was an aspiring comedian for quite a while, and an actor, and he's done some really good work if you Google him. But yeah, he was fun. Tim Cannon, good guy.
Okay. Is that Cannon?
Yeah.
Cool.
Cannon. Yep. He did some great. Do you guys know Dave Roche? The ultra runner, coach.
Mountain Roach. Oh yeah.
So that guy, he's pretty quirky, right?
Yeah,
Have you seen
totally.
his YouTube stuff?
Absolutely.
Well, Tim picked up on his YouTube channel and started doing spoof videos of Dave Roche, and they were so good that Dave, the real one, like literally gave him props on his page. And Tim got the most like activity and stuff on these spoof videos of it is you have to look, because it was documenting, because Dave Roche or whatever, as he was training for Western States last summer, he would post like a week of training on his YouTube, and it's all these real quirky interviews.
Totally
and stuff.
quirky. He's getting fed stuff on treadmills.
He's always got like the big the nose thing, and he's got like all this stuff, and Tim would just do that and like over the top and all these crazy funky training stuff. Oh my God. Tim was kind of a hit on like the running message boards and stuff, but he never goes away. He's just can't, he has to like scratch that itch of just being Mr. Comedy. So
love it.
Yeah.
All right. And the last component, the durability of.
Yeah, I would say Sadie Gastelum, another just top woman on our team from some years ago. She was the NCAA runner-up in the 10K, basically walked onto our team from a little school up near Reno, and pretty modest runner out of high school, came down here and just really went to work. And by the time she graduated, she was running 80-mile weeks in her big weeks. And I remember she'd come back from like 16-mile long runs, and I'd see her and I'd just be like, man, she just looks tired. Like she's been putting in some work. Yeah. And then the races would come, and it was just like, wow. Like it would be all that work and all that dirty, just in the thick of it stuff. And then on race day, she just got there and just fly and just beat people. And this was a runner that really, was not very good in high school. That, ended up becoming the NCAA runner-up in the 10K. Took 15th overall at the NCAA championships in cross country her senior year. Was the sweetest person you could ever imagine, but she could handle that workload. Very durable, and she really just squeezed the most out of like that work that she put in. And she was a part of, probably 2 or 3 teams that finished in the top 4 at nationals in cross country. So yeah, but she was a special one.
It sounds like my kind of runner, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very durable.
The best of the Wildcats right there.
Yeah, right there.
All right,
that was fun.
Okay, just one more quick question here before we go to a couple more quick questions here. If you could eliminate a race course from the planet, which one would it be? Just like good riddance. I don't need you. There's nothing good about you.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the Stanislaus State campus before?
Believe it or not, yes.
So you can empathize. One year they hosted the conference championships in cross country, and the whole course was on sidewalks on their campus. Oh man, like that was rough. I remember
concrete jungle.
So much hot. It was so much concrete, and it's just not the most beautiful campus. And
no.
I remember Kara Lubinecki was a freshman that year, and she moved here from Colorado. And you're running high school cross country there. You are not running courses like that, and
nothing like the Central Valley.
Her shins were killing her after. And I was like literally apologizing to her. I'm like, Kara, like it's going to be better. Like this is the worst you're ever going to see.
Yeah. This isn't what it's like all the time.
So that's the one. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I feel like we got to keep going with the fun segments because this is cool.
Yeah, hit them with it.
We had a little bit of an idea here, a myth or fact segment. that we thought, maybe we'll just keep the mood light as we get close to wrapping this thing up.
Yeah.
I don't know, very fun game. We appreciate your willingness to play along.
Yeah, of course.
Coach Towne, can you identify a runner's 5K PR just by hearing their footsteps? Myth or fact?
That's probably myth. Yeah.
He could get within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, Pete, you got the next one.
Yes. Okay. Myth or fact? You have a secret training loop only top athletes get to see.
Yeah, that's definitely a myth as well. You wouldn't get away with that, right? Because then you're going to have like some you're going to have some people that aren't very happy that you're kind of excluding them. So, yeah.
That's fair.
Okay,
Yeah.
myth or fact? You once designed an entire season's training plan during a single 5-hour bike ride that included a climb up Cohasset.
Yeah, there's probably some fact to that. I do a lot of thinking about the team and what, things, it could be training related or it could be whatever. It's funny because I'll have athletes in the office and like even yesterday I had someone in the office, I was talking to them like, I was this morning when I was writing, I was like thinking about your scenario and I'll literally, cause I'll be out writing. I'm just thinking about sort of this person, that person, their health or whatever. So yeah, it's probably, there's some truth to that.
Okay. I think real quick,
yeah,
the endurance element of this, how you spend so much time on the bike and you think through a lot of these things, that's probably helped you become such a great coach.
Yeah, hopefully. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe
that's a good characteristic.
Yeah. It does give you that time, right? Like every day where you're just out there with your thoughts. And so that is, that's healthy. So.
And you care.
Yeah.
And you want the best for it. And you can think through some of these things.
Yeah.
You can process a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you're not on a phone. You're just kind of, Good call.
Yeah.
We'll do a couple more of these.
Yeah.
You bet your buttons.
Okay. You can tell if an athlete is sandbagging a workout from 200 meters away.
That could be, there's some possibility there for sure. Yeah.
We're not going to ask you to identify any athletes who you might have done that to, because I'm sure it wasn't Kevin Gert or Danny DeMeo. That's for sure.
No.
Definitely not those guys.
No sandbagging.
Have you once predicted a team's exact score at regionals before the race even started? Myth or fact?
No, I there's of course hoped results, but
sure.
It's all, especially get to regionals, more teams and so no, I couldn't say that's got to be a myth.
Okay. All right. I'm going to jump down a couple.
I like
here,
your style.
Ross.
I like your style.
Is it myth or fact that you once ran a tempo run with the team and accidentally dropped half the squad?
That is definitely a myth. Oh my God. Yeah.
What about in 97?
When that happened, then my alarm went off.
Yeah.
In my
then
dreams.
you jumped on your bike for your morning ride.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Okay, myth or fact, you've had to remind athletes to slow down on easy days more times than you can count.
That's a myth, which is good. I think that they're pretty controlled, and if we're doing things right, they're pretty beat up from the workout the day before, and their body is telling them like, hey, chill out. So yeah.
Zone 2, baby.
Yeah.
We love zone 2.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's do 2 more, Ross.
Okay. Let's get some facts.
Okay. Okay, I think this might be a fact right here.
Okay.
Myth or fact? You've had recruits commit because they fell in love with Chico's trails the moment you showed them around.
That's definitely a fact for sure. Yeah, I think, in our recruiting visits, in fact, we'll have 3 up this Sunday, Monday. And on Sunday, we're going to take them straight to 1 mile, and we're going to walk like a mile loop through 1 mile, and share kind of what 1 mile or, what like Lower Bidwell Park looks like. And then we hop in cars. We drive up to Peregrine Point disc golf course, and we walk out to the canyon's edge. And, how can't you be in awe looking down at the entirety of Upper Bidwell Park Canyon? And we had, parents and recruits up there last Sunday, getting photos of parents and their kids. And that stuff is man, Bidwell Park sells itself for sure.
Have you got any commitments already from that pack?
Not yet, man. We had some good. Last week we had our fastest recruit ever visit. At least like he ran 14:49 at the state meet, which is just crazy fast. So we're hoping. We'll see how it turns out.
So I'm having this I'm thinking of you, coach, up on the looking down the canyon, and you've got these young high schoolers there and their families, and I'm having like a Lion King moment with everything you see is yours.
Yeah.
As far as the eye can see, this is your stomping grounds when you come to Chico.
So I have kind of a funny story on that adds to the humor side of things. Probably about like 8 years ago, had a recruit and his dad up, and we're out there at that spot. It was a especially windy day in the Upper Park Canyon, and so we're talking, and I'm trying to show them, and the wind's just kind of like howling, and I'm just trying to like act like the wind isn't like as bad as it is, and then out of nowhere, the kid's hat just blows right off of his head and just goes right into it probably flew past the Guardians Trail. Like it was blowing that hard and down below. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then after like a minute of thought, I was like, well, you know how you can retrieve that hat? You can come to Chico next year, and then we'll go and get it during one of our runs. So he did come to Chico. We never did find the hat, but yeah, that was one of the.
That's pretty funny.
I don't know if that was the hook that got him here or not, but
well, he ended up here.
He
so
did.
I mean,
maybe
it's
it worked.
your story. Tell it how you want. That's what got him here.
He graduated, and it's all good.
I love it. All right, last myth or fact. I think we've kind of answered this already, but you've coached athletes who arrived as mid-pack high schoolers and left as All-Americans.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we just graduated. Maybe one of our best stories, Hunter Doherty, Chico High kid that just barely got his foot in the door here, and his last opportunity to really do something, and he put everything into last track season, just dedicated a ton to it, and we're in Colorado for the NCAA championships, which is a bit of a disadvantage when you're from sea level. And so we had been working all spring. I had been working with Hunter on getting his classes done early enough to where as soon as we finished our conference championship, we flew him out to Colorado. He stayed with Kara Lubinecki, our alumni, and her husband.
Wow.
And Kara's husband was an NCAA steeple champion, and Hunter was a steepler. And so he literally stayed in their room for like a week. We flew up a week later, joined him, and got some acclimated with like the twins and the others that qualified. And and Hunter went out and ran incredibly well. Ran a 9:02 steeplechase at 5,000 feet elevation. Which would have won the NCAA championship the last years that it was in Pueblo. He took 6th, which was incredible. And but that was it. That was his final send off. And man, I was like, we were all in tears after that. His parents were right there, and this is a Chico High kid that didn't win a lot in high school, but that was really, really neat. So yeah, it's great.
I think one thing we should mention real quick before we get to Peter's rapid fire round. Hunter, local, obviously several local runners have made a significant impact. You've had the pleasure of coaching. Families are important. The community's important. Can you share or shed some light on just what the community of Chico means to you in supporting your cross-country program?
Yeah, it's incredible. We have so many people here locally that love the sport, and some of them I know better than others, and there's a part of me that's I don't know, like I feel like I need to get out and like meet more of these people and get to know more. It's a little difficult with the timelines that we have, but that support is incredible, and I tell recruits all the time, like the support that we have here the support system, the network is just it's wild. Like, and I feel like right now, maybe more than ever, the running community in Chico is probably as strong as it's ever been. As far as like, there's so many different groups of, like clubs, and you mentioned on your guys' podcast another one that had just sprung up, and it's just so great to see. So and we talk about that. With the team, and I have to remind them, like, hey, when we're out in the park, we're sharing the trail, and there are a lot of other people that are out here enjoying it, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that we're a part of this just with them. And it's great. I love the vibe, it's cool. This podcast is part of that too. It's really bringing some of that those people together, and we're learning about each other. So, and Strava's helping. I'm starting to recognize names, and it's cool. So,
well,
thanks, Gary.
Thanks for saying that about the pod. I mean, that's certainly part of our mission, is to just tell these stories of Chico. There's so much going on here.
Totally.
And what you're doing at Chico State is clearly an important part of that. And I want to say again, I mentioned it earlier, but when we see the cats in the park running, like, we yell at them, right? And they're always super friendly, and they wave back. And I mean, even at the end of their runs, when they're looking gassed and still flying past us, they're very cordial and friendly. And so you're very clearly finding the right people to be a part of your program.
Yeah, thank you. That's good to hear. Yeah, there's a guy, Dan Tennell. I don't know if you know him. He's a guy that's been walking in the park for years. And then it turned out he's a track official. I was like, oh, he's a guy, like, he works at track meets, and he just, like, we've been seeing him for years in the park, like generations of our Wildcats, and he's a donor to our program, and he was the first guy to reach out to me. We're hosting conferences here. He helped me put together all of our officials, and I tell the team, I'm like, hey, you guys, like, this guy did all this for our meet, and he's a guy that you see walking out in the park, like, all the time. It's cool. I want them to recognize, kind of what's around them and how unique it is as well. And it's cool when they get it, like when they can think outside of their bubble. And kind of extend into the community as the women have, like with the Girls on the Run and all that kind of stuff. So it's good. I need to try to like get more of them out into, I think overlapping is really nice. Like, we had an opportunity years ago to talk with the Bidwell Junior kids, and I felt like that was really impactful. Some of our kids talked to some of the youth before our conference meet that day, this year in the fall, and I'd like to be able to do more of that, because I think it's really cool.
It's a special running community.
Yeah,
certainly.
it is. It really is. Yeah. Chico's amazing.
Eugene, Oregon, obviously is known for running, but maybe there's a second coming, and maybe it's Chico. Maybe Chico is
cross country town.
Cross country town.
Yeah, Track Town, USA.
Yeah. We got cross country town, California, right here.
Yeah.
Okay, Gary, I have these silly rapid fire questions. Answer them as you see fit.
Okay.
Some of them we kind of touched on, but we're going to touch on them again.
All right.
Okay, the first one. Favorite trail or place to run? It can be in Chico. It can be outside Chico. It can be Japan, wherever it might be.
Yeah, I think Pacific Crest Trail.
Sweet.
Man, so many different stretches. But I love running on the PCT almost anywhere. Like, through the years, I've tried to nab different sections of it, like when I'm on the road. A couple of years ago, I was driving through from, like, Portland to Bend, like the back roads, and I saw a sign on the road that said Pacific Crest Trail. I had no intention of doing a run, and I was like, well, I've never run this stretch before.
Here.
So I doubled back, parked my van, put my running shoes on, and nabbed, like, a part of the trail up there. It's so beautiful, like views of Mount Hood and stuff. It was amazing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I love to do.
That's my dream.
Whenever I go to Eugene, I always stop in in Dunsmuir,
Okay.
just south of Dunsmuir.
Yeah.
Soda Springs exit.
Okay.
Here's a word of advice.
Yeah.
And you can hop on the PCT from right there and go south and go up into the forest up there, or you can go north and run it and wrap around behind Castle Crags.
Yep.
Beautiful, like running both either way, and you can finish both right at the Sacramento River. Jump in after, clean off a little bit, hit the road. That's a go-to. That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Okay.
Sick.
Yeah. Okay. So you're out for a run solo, thinking about the team, whatever you're thinking about. Are you listening to something in headphones, or are you raw dogging it with your thoughts?
These days, a lot of podcasts listening.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a big podcast person. Always, a lot of it's like listening to pro athletes and
Sure.
interviews and coaches and stuff, and
Yeah.
trying to, just follow the sport and stay in tune with like what's going on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
So going back to when you were a runner, not a coach, but a runner, what's the best piece of running coaching you've ever received?
Maybe when I was aspiring to be, when I was getting to marathons, one of my good friends, Dan Towner, who's a good marathon runner, coming out of college, I was teammates with him for a little bit. He gave me some really good advice on the marathon. He's like, it's really easy to get out faster than you should. And he's like, it's easy to fall victim to banking time in the first half. He's like, but don't do that. Like, try to run, you have a target time, stick to that. And then if you're able to run negative splits at the end, do that. But he's like, you want to run ideally, very, very even from half to half. And I took that to heart. In my PR race, I ran within 15 seconds for the two halves. So
holy cow.
Yeah. So 1:14 and 1:14, per half. But yeah, but that was good advice. Like, even splits, and don't fall victim to trying to bank time early. Because it's easy in the marathon, right? Like, it's easy to you're feeling really good. You're like, oh man,
I'm just going to lean into this.
Yeah, I'm like,
while I can.
I'm going through the half like 2 minutes faster than I thought I would. Like, man, I got some wiggle room here. And then for
crap out.
every minute that you've gone out too fast, you can multiply that like on a negative way on the backside. So yeah.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Duly noted here.
Yeah.
Very.
Interesting.
Marathons. Yeah.
Okay. So you've got a friend. They're just starting running. Like, they're just getting into it. Maybe when they were younger, they did some athletic things, but never got into running. What's the first piece of advice you would give someone who's just starting their running journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think running is very hard at first, and you have to be patient and get through that really hard stretch because with some time, it becomes much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's easy to not get through that hard part, right? Like, if you can't get through that initial 4 to 6 weeks where it's like one of the hardest things that you could do.
Miserable.
That's why people just say, oh, I tried running and it was terrible, so I just don't do it.
Yeah.
But they didn't really like try it long enough.
Yeah.
But once you do, it's like, whoa, wait, this is like way easier than it used to be.
Yeah, and it feels good, and the rewards that come from it are priceless.
Incredible. Like the sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I so fortunate that I can still do it. Yeah, that's why I'm being very careful with like how much I do, because I want to be able to keep enjoying it. I don't want to get greedy and try to do too much. So. But yeah, it's so awesome to be able to get out there, and I appreciate it even more now since it was taken away for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and our last one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can take this one. Think you just finished a run, maybe back when you were running marathons and doing crazy training, or maybe after like a crazy long bike ride, and it's time to eat. What are you going for after a hard run or a hard bike ride?
Yeah.
What's like, I got to have this right now?
Yeah. Sometimes like it depends on the time of the day.
Okay.
Maybe some really salty potato chips.
Okay.
I like the Himalayan salt, like, I don't know what the brand is, but Roxanne gets them from Costco, the big bags. Those are really good.
Yep.
But if I'm in the morning, like I've been making some really big portions of oatmeal. So I come home and I just have a system down. I cut an apple in half. I cut a banana in half. I chop a bunch of chopped nuts or mixed nuts up, cranberries, and I just this morning in 15 minutes I went from just coming in for a ride to having a giant bowl of really good oatmeal, and I kind of like that. It's cool and it's good for you. So.
I feel like the vegan badass said something very similar, right?
Yeah, he did. Mike. Yeah.
Mike O'Connell, the president of Chico Run Club.
Oh, that's cool.
He came in and said the same thing. He's like, I get back, I'm going for oatmeal with all the good stuff in it.
I need to put a video together and share it with my team because I was at Costco the other day and I bought this giant thing of oatmeal for $8, and I'm like, this is the total college deal right here. This will take me 2 or 3 months to get through.
Yeah.
And then you just add pretty basic ingredients, and it's not expensive and it's really healthy. So yeah, it's good.
That's a good choice. A horrible choice.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, holy cow.
Yeah.
This was pretty incredible.
Yeah, 3 hours later.
I knew it was going to happen.
Hope you're not in trouble, Gary.
Shout out Roxanne. Shout out Roxanne.
Thank you for letting us borrow Gary tonight.
You'll see me on Strava a little bit later tomorrow, probably.
Yeah. Oh, instead of 4:30 in the morning, it'll be 5:15.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah,
Sorry,
maybe I'll just
Coach.
get it in on the way home. I'll just do the rest.
Go head up Humboldt.
Head up Humboldt a few times.
A couple loops of Humboldt, no big deal.
Yep. Yeah.
Those
are my people.
Match Josh's 100 miles up and down Humboldt.
Yeah, that's right.
Crazy.
That is cool. Yeah, I forgot you did that. That's awesome. I love stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for a lens into Chico State cross country, and what an amazing, unbelievable program you've built. And it's such an honor to be able to witness all of this and, see the Wildcats running through the park and knowing what they're representing and just how beautiful and successful of a program it is. And it's really neat to sit here and talk to you about it. So thank you.
Yeah, I've got a whole new appreciation for your program, for you and what you're doing to build this program. And I know I said it earlier, and I say that a lot. I said that earlier. I mentioned this earlier, but having known Danny DeMeo for a couple years now, your coaching tree, I would imagine your umbrella of folks who come from your tutelage are taking those values that you've instilled and passing them all along through the Striders in this case. And I'm sure your other colleagues who were your former runners and your runners now, they're going to be coaches, are going to take what you're passing on to them and keep passing it and paying it forward. So you've built an incredible program, and I hope that you continue to do this for a long time and keep boosting the Chico community and lifting up all your runners.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think, to me, this has been the opportunity of a lifetime. I grew up in a little trailer in Corning and wasn't all that great at running. This was not just sort of, your elite runner that inherited the program and did this or that. This has literally been the opportunity of a lifetime. And so I've never lost touch with that, and so every day I go to work, I know I'm just super lucky to do what I do and get paid for it. So no, it's great, and that keeps me fresh. It keeps me happy. I don't know. I can't even. Yeah, every day I'm pretty excited about doing the things that we do, and it's nice to know that that the public and the people in Chico are behind us as well, and so it's good.
Yeah. And all you listeners out there, find the Chico State cross country and track accounts on Instagram.
Yeah.
The videos are incredible. Look up their schedule. Go watch some meets at the track this spring. Do you know the date off the top of your head for the Twilight race?
Yeah, I think it'll be Saturday, April. What is it? Probably, that's a good question. I think around the 12th or something of April, in that neighborhood. Okay. It's on a Saturday afternoon when we'll be doing that. And Damien will be trying to break 4 minutes in the mile, so that doesn't happen all the time in Chico. And we definitely will get the word out on the attempt. He ran 4:01 last year. We gotta make it happen. So, and it really helps a lot to have a lot of people there. When Scott Bowes broke it, there were hundreds. There were a ton of people there,
Yeah.
maybe a couple thousand actually. So yeah, no, we're it's it'll be fun. And then regionals and cross country next year in Sacramento, which will be great. Yep, and we'll definitely get the word out about that. But following our Instagram will definitely be helpful because we do a good job of trying to promote things through that. So yeah, it'll be good.
Love it.
Yeah.
One word to describe Chico State cross country.
I would say tradition, I guess. That's
Love it.
yeah.
Tradition of excellence.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Now I guess we can honestly say that.
Yes, you can.
No more gaslighting.
No, it wasn't gaslighting. It was manifesting.
Yeah, manifest. That's right. That's right.
Come on.
Wrong
Yeah,
verb,
frame of mind.
Yeah.
Frame of mind.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach, so much.
All right.
This
Thank
was
you
so
guys.
fun.
Appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Ross, it's been another fun one, man.
Oh man, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes, I am excited to go witness Damien's attempt this
Yeah,
year.
that'll be fun.
Yes.
We got to be there.
Yep.
Everyone else should too.
Yep, live stream it.
All right. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yep.
Nailed it.